Hello. It's Wednesday again, and it's, believe it or not, episode 29. Wow. And here he is, the man. It's Delboy. Yes, he's here. And he's
Yeah,
gone all Halloween. Look at that at the back there. Yes.
unfortunately, I've turned up again. That's what you said
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah, he's
Before I
got no else
started.
to do. So I thought I might as well go and have a talk down there, get a free pint.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
No,
So
I'm your biggest fan. I am. I've
you,
watched
you
all. I've watched all your videos, all the good ones. All one of them.
well, that can't be many.
All one of them.
Oh, one of them. Yes. Uh, I know one you don't watch anyhow. Yeah,
Which one's that?
it's my music one. Anything I do on music,
I still bloody watch those.
you don't watch.
It's
You
like
just, you just, you
it's
so.
it's like chewing bloody tarmac. But I
Yeah,
watch
I
them.
know. It'd be like if you was doing a review of some film soundtrack. I'd be, oh god, here we go. Yeah, I'd just say, yeah, great video. Anyhow, so the usual question, the surprise question I ask every week is, and what have you been watching?
Oh, that's come as such a
It's
surprise.
shock-
I don't know where that was coming from.
yeah,
Yeah. I'll talk about the ones that I haven't got the physical media of first. So I watched Terrifier and Terrifier 2 over the weekend. And what can I say? Well, what's the best way to say it? The first one at least made me laugh. I did laugh through the first one. It's fun. I said this to Pete. I turned around and said, these slasher, the people that go around killing people and that, they're like doctors because they're so accurate with their knife shots. I mean, every time, right? They slash someone, right? Blood sprays. They hit major arteries, right, from every angle. They can knife someone, right, with trousers on. Still, it goes everywhere, right? I
yeah,
mean, if anybody's ever put a knife into something, right, you're not unless you hit the major arteries. It doesn't go like that. It's if anybody's had a paper cut, it takes a while
yeah, yeah.
for the blood to come through, right? But no, if you hit a major artery, right? Yeah, but this this clown, he was underneath a car at one point, and he came out from underneath the car and stabbed this woman in the leg. Blood, right? You should have seen it. She had a gaping hole. There was a bloody blood going everywhere. It looked like jam. And I'm going, how the hell did he do all that? He came from underneath the car. I mean, he'll have to get up and basically sort of ask her to sort of stand still for a minute, and then he stabbed like this. I was just laughing. I was going, "What's all this?" Like jam with a pressure hose attached to it.
Brilliant. I love it.
I mean, Terrifier 2 was just long. All I thought was, when does this end?
Yeah, oh, brilliant. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but anyhow, I've gone to my rant.
But that's that.
Yeah,
Substance I saw. Now, Substance is what is
yeah,
sort of like what I call film of the year material. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm not going to say it is film of the year at the moment because the year's not out. I don't believe in film of the years until you get to sort of the end of the year where there's nothing really to watch. You've got to give all the ones that are up to Christmas or something
yeah, yeah,
a run to say, well, because they
yeah,
could be the surprise hit. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Because I don't go by sales figures or anything. So,
yeah. So
I mean,
I always,
I don't mind people sort of saying that's the horror film of the year because by the end of Halloween, I should think Hollywood has now brought out the horrors for the year. They're going to be the odd one or two, but that's the time where Hollywood want you to
yeah,
watch a horror. You know what I mean? So you'd think all the good ones
yeah.
will have been
But
out by
sometimes
then.
there's a surprise one that might just come out in December. It has
Yeah,
happened,
that's
and
what
they
I'm
start, oh,
saying.
yeah,
So people that
it's,
do film of the
yeah,
year and it's like the 1st of December, I'm going, oh, sod that.
Yeah.
God's sake, you know what I mean? You should be doing this on sort of like New Year's Eve or something,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
review of the year or whatever,
Yeah.
So, and obviously there are some absolute big blockbusters coming out. I mean, we've got we've still got Gladiator and stuff to come out, haven't we?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some Lord of the Rings and all sorts of stuff to come out. So
Yeah.
you can't, the,
Yeah.
it's because they want the Christmas audience. So of
Yeah.
course, there's people
There'll
that
be
have
stuff we
time off.
don't know about. It'll just come out and you think, oh, where's that come from?
So substance I've seen, that's a
Yeah.
contender. Brilliant
Yeah.
film. I'd recommend that to everybody. It was a little,
Yeah.
it is a horror film, but the first time I said this to Pete, I said, when I was watching it, I thought this is a documentary about Jane Fonda in it, because it was about this aging Hollywood person that is now doing aerobics.
Yeah.
And then she gets sacked from the TV, and all of a sudden this person comes up and says, "I can give you the elixir of life." And then I thought, well, I'm watching Twilight Zone, because there's a Cagney and woman from Cagney and Lacey that was in a famous Twilight Zone episode where she was an aging reporter or something, and this boyfriend of hers gave her the elixir of life, but she dumps him and then goes out with this younger man, and who's a tennis star, and he thinks, oh, I could last forever if I had this elixir and all that sort of stuff. It's a good Twilight Zone episode. You can sod up, you son. You made a bloody noise then coming through the door. I heard you. Right. While I'm talking.
You can't stop talking, can you?
And then it turns into a real horror, right? And it's a real horror from that moment on. So what have I got over here then? Right. These are the things that are turned up, right? So I've got to turn the background off for a minute, haven't I? So let's do that for a second. Right, there we go. So these have turned up. Look, Trick or Treat turned up today. That's the new one.
Yeah.
But it's from Arrow.
Yeah.
So that one I'm looking forward to. So that's a
4K.
It's
a good one to watch.
A nice deluxe set, this one, of World War Z, or Z if you're in the States. Don't want to upset
anyone.
It's
Z, isn't it? None of
World
this
War Z, that's what I call it. Yeah. And then because I've got the Japanese version, I've got the collector's edition of the original of the remake of the Ring. It's only the first film. It's not a collector's set or anything.
Yeah, I bet that's a good. I've never seen that. A lot of people really rate it highly.
It's highly I like that first one. It's not too bad. I sort of look at it like what that Old Boy. You watch the two. But, it's but the second, the American remake is not that bad, but it's nowhere near a patch on the first, the original one. It's a bit like that, really, with that.
Yeah.
I've got now the official steel book of Creepshow, because my other Creepshow that's a steel book is a bootleg sort of Italian version, which has got a better cover in my opinion, and it's embossed. But I want the official one, so I got the official one. Of course, Long Legs has turned up. So I got Long Legs. Look,
a lot of people rate that very highly, don't they?
So I'll be watching that before Halloween. And then of course this one is due to be sort of like possibly the horror film of the year, and that's the Late Night with the Devil. Which a lot of people talk about and think, that's a cracking film. And then when I'm going to do a film capsule review this week or should I say I'm down to do a film capsule review, because I try and do one a week if I can. And it's the one I ordered last week, you miserable bastards, the lot of you, and that's that Fantastic Voyage that basically.
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic.
I'm disappointed it hasn't got Raquel Welch on the front.
Because
they'd sell a damn sight more copies. But Monkman was right. It was £9 something. It turned up.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen a 4K digital copy that I've downloaded and watched, so I can still do it as an unboxing. You see, because I like to do it as a film retrospective and unboxing. So I'll be able to unbox that. And that's about it. What I've watched, listened to. I've listened to you.
Well, you need educating sometimes.
Yeah, I'll tell you what music. I'll tell you what's
Musically,
music
you
to me.
definitely need educating.
What's music to me is you, silence.
Sound of silence. Now
That's
there's
music.
a good
That's music to
track.
my ears.
Simon Garfunkel. There you are.
So no, I haven't really listened to an awful lot. A few podcasts, that sort of thing, but
yeah,
nothing much.
yeah,
So I haven't been to any, because I'm still off work and I don't get to go to my place of work. I haven't been to any charity shops or anything, I've ordered that was it Box of Delights?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You said it come out.
What's been taking up all of my time, and this is a selfish advert. I've been watching all the first season of The Twilight Zone.
Oh, because you're doing go on, plug it.
I do my discussion tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I've been watching all of those.
Yeah.
And then having to rate them and then say why I think that they're good and all of that sort of stuff. And
I always think it's good when you have to.
The one thing, just a little bit of news is that I forgot how many episodes there were in season 1. There were 36 episodes.
Ooh. Oh, that's a lot.
Do you know what? Out of all 36, I'll have to get the figures. I think it was 4 were not written by Rod Serling.
Wow.
He did 32.
Wow.
Right.
Amazing.
And he won an award, a Golden Globe or an Emmy or something at the end of that season. But it was never a foregone conclusion that there was going to be a second season.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, they got to the 20th episode and then paused the series to discuss whether it should carry on as a series.
Yeah.
So to be quite honest, it was on hiatus for about 3 months. And then CBS gave it the green light for it to come back. So I'm really looking forward to that discussion that I'm going to have tomorrow on the Twilight Zone. So
So tomorrow, everybody, what time's it start?
7:30.
7:30 tomorrow. Delboy's channel. He's got a discussion on the Twilight Zone. Go over there and watch it.
Season 1.
Season 1, yeah. Brilliant. Excellent. So don't forget to go over there and watch that tomorrow. It should be interesting. And it's with Danny, isn't it?
Yeah, and because I know where all of the chatters live, you better turn up. Because otherwise I'll send them all round to you. Got shotguns in their hands.
Yeah. All right.
So my question to you is, what have you been watching, Mr. Ramblings?
Well, the first thing I'll say is thank you for sending me Terrifier 1 and the Terrifier 2. It's not your fault, but I kind of agree with you actually. I was disappointed, seriously, because you get a lot of people who like horror are going on about this is a great character, he's the new brilliant character added to Jason and Freddy and Michael and all these. Yes. I don't understand it. I just didn't get much at all from it. There's no story to him. We know nothing about him. He just goes around. I might as well watch a documentary on how to cut somebody up on special effects. That's all it's about.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, there may be practical effects, but it's not scary. It gets boring actually watching him he's cutting somebody else up. Great. And there's no story. Have they ever heard of stories? I was so disappointed because everybody goes on what a great character he is. And then they say, oh, yeah, fantastic. And he's funny. Well, he might be funny for a few seconds or so. And then he's not funny anymore. It's just boring.
You know what? I just want to say, you've knocked it on the head, actually. I hadn't really thought about it. But if you think about Halloween, the very start of the film sets up Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street. You hear about what he was. The myth of Freddy.
Yeah.
And why all the people in the street don't want to hear about.
And Jason, you get his story.
Even with Candyman, it's a myth.
Yes,
Candyman. They recap.
Yeah.
And yet Terrifier,
you don't know about him. It's just some awful. It's just not. And he thinks he's funny. You can tell the actor is doing it and thinks, "Oh, I'll do a funny thing," and everybody thinks, "Hey, it's really cool." No, it's not.
Yeah.
But if I want to see, it's like there is. I know everybody always goes on about it. In the second Terrifier, there's a scene where he's really going mad with this woman, or I don't know who it is, but he's cutting them up on the bed, and everybody's going, "Oh wow, what a thing!" It's just so what, I'm not bothered, because all it is just you saying, "Look how good we are at the special effects. Look at this with all practical effects. Oh wow."
Yeah. I know how to make that film better, right? If in the first 5 minutes, right, you see this sort of like clown sitting in front of a computer, right? And he's got the Amazon page open, right? And he's ordering this set of ninja knives with sharpener, right? And it costs him $99 or something to have it delivered.
Yeah.
And then they get delivered at the door, and he starts going on a murder slasher spree. That'd have been good as a setup, wouldn't it? First 5 minutes. Tell you what, I'm not used properly, really. Hollywood, I'm available, right? For ideas and all of that sort of stuff. That'd have set that film up lovely. The Terrifier ordering a set of ninja knives.
There's a third one just come out there. And I've heard a lot of people going, "Oh, it's great, fantastic." I thought to myself, if it's as good as the first two, then it's going to be not my cup of tea. I accept people enjoy it, but I'd like a story. Thank you. I'd like to know about a character. You can only go so far. And I don't want to see a documentary on the people doing special practical effects. Oh, look, I've just cut this off. Look how wonderful that special effect is. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's all practical. Orgasm. No, I'm not, that's not for me.
You might as well have had it set in a doctor's surgery, right? There, all the victims are sitting in reception, and over the tannoy you can hear, "Victim number 1, please."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Walk through
180. It's like you can have it on.
Victim number 2, please. That'd have been funny, wouldn't it? Right.
Yeah. Horror darts.
Horror darts.
Yeah. Oh, bully and all that
Double
stuff.
Bullseye.
Yeah. You could have a brilliant set. Now that would be good. That would be fantastic.
You get nothing for two in a bed.
That's right.
Bully special prize.
You can win a speedboat.
Yeah, here's what you could have won.
Yes, speedboat.
That'd have been better, wouldn't it?
And sorry, I know I do understand a lot of people really enjoy this Art the Clown character, but it's not for me. As you can see, me and Delboy have had so what can we say about it?
Well, we haven't seen Terrifier 3 either, and we haven't could be a story, but
no, it's just not good. Now, I have to do it because here it is.
Oh yeah.
Now this, on the other hand, we are talking, for me, one of the contenders. Big, it probably will be my film of the year. Absolutely adore this film. Everything that I love about a good film. It's got the atmosphere of the 80s. Ty West knows what he's doing, director and writer of this. It just captures that 80s feel. And she's brilliant, Mia Goth. I know a lot of people are going to say Pearl is the one, not this is the one for me. Absolutely loved it. For me, this is definitely up there. It's one of the best films of the year. I just fell in love with it. I watched it. I put it on again And I thought, wow, I have to watch it again. It's just one of those films.
Well, I want a steel book and a 4K release, but
Oh yeah, you've got to see this film. And Kevin Bacon is good. He's a baddie. He's playing a baddie in this, and he's an awful character. And there's so many great things in this film. I just can't recommend it enough.
Just even though I don't want to know the ending, is it a conclusion? Is that a trilogy now? Is that the end? What?
I think they could carry it on, but fortunately, I was reading a quote what it said in August, because somebody had asked him this question, and he thinks that's it. And I'm really pleased. That's how it should be. I think it's nice that it can end that way. They could carry on, I suppose, but I think it ends in a good way, and I'd be happy with that.
That's good.
Yeah, definitely. So that's the positives. We only had one negative. Then this film I really enjoyed. This is from 1968. It's called Twisted Nerve. This is great, absolutely wonderful. It's got Hayley Mills. Wow, wasn't Hayley Mills a great actress?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. She is wonderful, absolutely wonderful in this. And then we've got this character, Howell Bennett.
Oh, Hugh Bennett from TV.
Yeah, he's on that.
Shelley,
he was in a comedy series.
Shelley it wasn't it?
But he's really good. He plays this character who's kind of pretending that he's a bit subnormal, and he's not. He's a psychopath, and that's how he gets them fussing over him and people treating him like a baby almost, and he loves that. And then he does his killing, and really good. I really enjoyed that. But Hayley Mills, I mean, there's a great cast as well. You've got Billy Whitelaw, who's another great actress. She's in here. Just absolutely loved it. And then,
that looks suspiciously like a Tony donation.
Yeah, it is. And now this one is from 1970. It's a sci-fi film called The Mind of Mr. Soames. It's got Terence Stamp and it's got Robert Vaughn. Wow, Robert Vaughn. Now you know
the Protectors and the Man from
and I was kind of surprised. I don't know. I was expecting him to play a certain character, how he normally is, and he wasn't. He was really good. I thought he was really good as this sort of.
What year was that?
This is 1970. This 1970. It's a sci-fi kind of story. There's this person that was born and has been in a coma for 30 years, and when they revive them, their mind is that of a baby, and it's how their brain develops, and it's so cleverly done. Absolutely loved it. Great.
That's up my street, that one. I'll have to ask you about that one.
Yeah. And then let's see, I do one more as well, because I think this one is really good. It's called The Criminal. It's another Joseph Losey film, 1960. This was when he'd come over from America, sort of in exile, before his big hit with 1963, The Servant. And this is really good. It's what I think makes it interesting is that it starts off, quite a bit of it is in prison. You don't get that many British prison dramas. Actually seeing a British prison.
Scum is the one that comes to mind.
Yeah, this is 1960. And it's Stanley Baker. What an actor. He's a great actor. And also, it's interesting, at the beginning, we've got Kenneth Cope pops up again. And you look at
now I want to watch it.
Yeah, you look at his Kenneth Cope. His name pops up in so many films at 60s. Not big parts. It's not a big part, but he's in this, particularly at the beginning. And it's so good. But Losey is just a massive, brilliant director. I really enjoyed this. Stanley Baker he's another one who gives good performances of that period.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend
he was in a lot of films in the 50s, wasn't he, really?
Yes, yeah, 1960, which of course, as everybody knows, is a brilliant year.
Well, you were 10 then, weren't you?
And there's some great films. But yeah, seriously, that is great. And then I have to have it, even though
you were born 1950, weren't you?
Now, this is always, as you know, every week, it's Delboy's favourite part that we show. It's album of the week time.
I'll fall asleep now. Yeah.
Here it is. It is. Look at this. It's the Who. Look at this. Who's next?
I like the Who. I like the one with the big long scarf, and I like. Yeah. I like the one with the sort of like cricket gear on.
Yeah, actually, he was all right. You probably do, because I know you like synthesizers. And the Who.
I listen. I tell you what.
The early groups.
I listened to Who with Tommy.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about Tommy.
When Tommy came out and I was introduced to Tommy, I then bought the albums before and the albums afterwards.
Yeah,
I didn't really gel too much with the very early stuff.
No,
they
were more of a mod singles band.
Yeah,
they're a single. They weren't really an album. This is why this album. You've got the rock opera Tommy.
Yeah.
Just before this, and the album before this is actually, well, I have to plug it, don't I? Live in Leeds, which is one of the greatest live albums going.
Hang on, you talked about a place that I've never heard of. Where is it?
No, you never would have guessed, would you? No.
Oh yeah, I remember Leeds.
It's the university at Leeds. It was recorded at, but anyway.
They tried to put a motorway through Leeds, but couldn't. Didn't get building permission. But
oh yeah, just as a sideline, one of the actresses in Maxine says she's from Yorkshire, but not much of a good Yorkshire accent. But
bloody big place, Yorkshire as well. I mean, Christ, do you want to narrow it down a bit, love? I mean, where's that? Which hill did you come from? You know what I mean?
Anyhow, this album I really like. I think it's important because this is the first real album that the Who you could really call a classic album. It's not a very single-based album, but it has, of course, got the track on it, which is Won't Get Fooled Again, which is a great combination of guitars and synthesizers. I say there was such a group that live performances, amazing live performance, because this has got another disc in, which is of the live performances, and there was going to be another rock opera, but he abandoned it.
Yes, I heard that.
And bits of some of the tracks are on this album, and then he spread them out over years. But because you've got Quadrophenia comes out after this.
Well, you got to take the rough with the smooth, haven't you? Really?
Yeah, with Quadrophenia. But it was good that he did Quadrophenia. So even though he abandoned that other one, but still kept coming back to it.
What was that TV show that had Barbara O'Reilly in it? Was it CSI or something?
Was it? Oh no, that's not Barbara O'Reilly. It was CSI. It was Who Are You? Who Are You?
Oh yeah, that was another one, but it was Barbara O'Reilly I was thinking of. The one with
Barbara O'Reilly.
With the very long intro. Yeah. It's got an incredibly long intro, and it's like electronic, isn't it? It's like
and the violin, everything about it. Barbara O'Reilly, which happens to be.
You can tell the Who were an influential band when you got so many of their little tracks, that prop up, like Pinball was in Barbara O'Reilly and Who Are You and Our Generation and all of that sort of stuff.
And I didn't realize that they were important in development of the sort of stage equipment, the big sound systems and that. Apparently they were important in development.
I know. Is it Pete Townsend? I know he was a big supporter of Moog synthesizers.
Yeah, he
Was a
was.
very
That's
he
what
was
it was.
he was a
Yeah.
huge importer of that device.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
so
why they were doing it when a lot of pop rock groups weren't involved with synthesizers. The
yeah.
Who were one of pioneers, I'd say, in terms of a rock group.
That's probably why I
Yeah,
like them. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. I know that. I know that's what I thought straight away. The synthesizers, but
I've
that,
got the vinyl of Tom. You know, I've got the record
yeah.
of Tommy. It was
Have
a
you got
double
this?
album, a
Have you got
gatefold.
this on vinyl?
I'm not sure I've got that one. You know.
Oh, record, yeah, because this has got "Won't Get Fooled Again," which is one of their real anthems. That's a brilliant combination of the power guitar and synthesizer together.
Whenever
It's like an
somebody sort of
anthem.
like reminds me of how good a band is, I then usually go on Amazon, you know, and buy an anthology
Yeah.
box of
Oh yeah,
some,
I've got
get the whole
yeah,
album set in
yeah.
one box set.
There's some brilliant anthologies at Who, but that I really like it. To me, when you're talking about well, I do talk about classic rock albums. This is always it'd be in that list if you was to put one down. It always is. It just represents so much of that period. It's 1971, but it's just really good. I'm really impressed with it. You know, I'm listening to it again, and yeah, I reviewed it as well. So there we are. So I've been babbling on. We have, and
Well,
we've
you know, I
probably
think when we'll get to the comments because everybody will be pissed off that 40 minutes
yeah,
have gone by.
yeah, especially if there's a lot of Terrifier fans. Me and you are going to be for it.
Well, yeah, there is that.
Yeah, Terrifier's got a lot of fans. You know, I've seen them all. They'll come out on. Anyhow, we'll see what goes on. So here we go. We have got Cy saying, "Evening, gang. Good evening.
Si. Always good to see you, fella."
And then we've got Cy saying, "Sad news about Jeff Capes passing away." Yeah, we were just discussing that before we came on. We just seen it on the news.
It actually popped up in well, not my Discord, but my friend's Discord, and I basically then instantly went onto Facebook, and I read all of the stuff online, and even the ITV News didn't mention it tonight. So it's happened quite late tonight. I think, where that's been announced. So yeah, it'll be on the 10 o'clock news, I should think.
Yeah. He was only 75, which isn't that old, is it, nowadays?
Yeah, I was thinking, you know, whenever something like this happens, and I think to myself, do you know, that's another childhood hero that's gone. Yeah. I mean, he was even in a computer game that I bought, you know, during the 80s, right? I was thinking to myself, when was it that he stopped being a strongman on telly? You know, when they used to do strongman.
Yeah, that's like Channel 5.
You know what I mean? Well, it used to be on the BBC when I watched it. It was on the BBC.
Yes, it was. No, you're right. You're right. It moved to Channel 5.
But I think he always had a rival. I think his rival was Jurgen something or other or something. I can't remember. But I always just went, yeah, come on, Jeff, do it for Britain. All that stuff.
He'd be pulling a bus or something, you know, dragging a bus.
He was always sort of like around at the same time as It's a Knockout was on telly.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. We better not mention It's a Knockout.
Wow, I know, but you have to. Well, you see, it's my childhood.
Yeah, it is mine.
Forgetting all about Stuart. What's his face?
Yeah, I know. It was for me because it was the Eddie Waring. You know.
Yeah, Eddie Waring
with his rugby league. Rugby league.
All I was getting at was there was all of these events like Krypton Factor, and there was Jeff Cape Strongman, and there was It's a Knockout, and there was Run the Gauntlet, and all of these sort of like strong,
that's right,
competitive type shows that were on, and I was just thinking about all of them when I heard about Jeff Cape. So I went, wow,
yeah, he represented that sort of the sort of sportsman going into TV and doing these kind of programs, and so now we've got have you seen that Gladiator 2 is getting good reviews?
I haven't
seen it's had any good reviews, but I hope that's right. I mean, nobody likes to see a bad film. Everybody wants a film to be good, don't they? I mean, really.
Yeah.
We don't sit here going, "Oh, it's gonna," I hope it's terrible.
Oh yeah,
Even though we
I
think
that
it is.
film shit. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Yeah,
we're
you
hoping.
always hear that, don't you?
Yeah, we're hoping that we're wrong. You got to say
It's good.
it.
It's good news. But I
Yeah, it
also
is.
because the one thing I didn't want Gladiator 2 to do was besmirch what's a great memory of me going to the pictures and seeing the first Gladiator.
Yeah,
Nobody wants something that fouls up a legacy, I suppose, is what you want to call it, a legacy.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
look at it as a
exactly.
legacy, but I look at it as
Yeah,
like you would the Ten Commandments or
yeah,
these one-off, like El Cid or something like that. I wanted
yeah,
it to be like that, stand on its own 2 feet. Doesn't
yeah,
need a
yeah.
sequel type thing.
We've got Jim Jam. Good evening, gentlemen.
Well,
Yeah,
there's Jim Jam, and I was just saying he's just bought 10 Commandments for 10 pence.
yeah, yeah. What a
He was,
film that
he was
is.
showing off all these films, and I was going,
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I went, I wouldn't have bought that. I wouldn't have bought that. I wouldn't have bought that. 10 Commandments going. I went, oh, I'd have bought that.
yeah,
Jesus
I would.
Christ.
I've seen it at cinema.
I went, yeah.
Yeah, it's a treat, an absolute treat. It is a treat. That film is wonderful.
But
It represents an era when they
he's
made
gone
those
down in
films.
my estimations. He was buying Mrs. Brown's Boys, and I just went, no.
God, yeah, I know that. How
No, sorry.
embarrassing!
Sorry,
Oh,
it's going to take several weeks for me to get my jaw off
to
the floor
recover.
and get
How
over
can
that.
you have that polluting your collection? Oh,
I had
no.
nightmares last night of somebody peeling the wrapper off of a Mrs. Brown's DVD.
Yeah. Oh dear, Mrs. Brown. No, please, no. It's a nightmare. And we've got Charles Duncan here. Ian and Del, is it just me, or are these King Kong and Godzilla movies that come out over the past few years rubbish, or is it me getting too old for them?
I don't think he's in the wrong. I will say this: I don't think he's in the wrong, but I also think they're not aimed at me.
Yeah.
I used to love not only King Kong films, I used to love Godzilla films when I was a kid.
Yeah, you've just said it there when you was a kid.
They used to show the old Japanese Godzillas in movie club. When I used to go, it used to be one of the double bill of something. But what it seems to be, these King Kong versus Godzilla films and all of that sort of stuff, I don't see the point in them. They're sort of like special effects spectaculars, but for me, and this is just for me, and I'm saying it's just in my own opinion, is that I don't want either of them to lose. So of course it's going to be a stalemate, right?
Yeah.
There's always going to be one of them that walks away, and the other one is left sort of.
They can't have one totally defeated.
Then he'll wake up and walk off in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's left behind is the destruction of the bloody city that they were fighting.
Yeah.
Which is the big spectacle of special effects that go
into
these films.
Yeah.
So where the one thing I'm happy about when it's a singular film like Godzilla -1 and all of that sort of stuff is at least it's coming from the original country that brought it out. It's done in homage to the original. And it's done with a lot of practical effects, not special effects. They've gone back to the well and said, "Do you know what? We can do this, and we can make it look good even now without CGI."
Yeah.
All Hollywood ever does is just basically try to top the last film with more special effects and more color and all that sort of stuff, or destruction. And like I say, at the end, there's going to be a big fight, and I don't want either of them to lose. So I don't get it. I don't get it when they're both in the same film together.
Yeah, they somehow believe it's a box office winner. They do. They think, two big names, everybody loves them. We're in, put them together. We're going to make loads more money. But I think people in the end get fed up of them. You can only milk a cow so much, and there's no left. You can just keep milking it, but in the end, what do you get? What is it? How many Transformer movies? 9, 10 Transformer movies. How many people have a great opinion about all those Transformer movies? They don't seem to have a great deal of people saying, "Oh yeah, let's have another Transformers movie." No, they just milk them too much. I mean, there is that other one which I don't like, but well, I'm not really interested. Fast and Furious, that's another one that they just milk and milk.
Yeah.
It's just cars going.
But
fast,
I don't think Charles is wrong. I think they are pretty rubbish because I don't think any of the American ones have understood what made them good in the first place.
Yeah, they wouldn't. They probably wouldn't be interested. No.
Yeah.
Right. So look what else we've got. Jim Jam saying, looking forward to seeing Wild Robot next week. Oh yeah, that's that new animated
film. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks interesting. A lot of people have been quite positive about that, what I've heard. So be interested to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I've heard great things about it.
Yeah. And then we've got him saying, what is it about Maxine you enjoyed the most? I think that's aimed at me.
Yeah, don't give the story away.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I think. I'll give two things. Mia Goth, she's a great talent. Seriously, Mia Goth is just such a wonderful talent. And Ty West, as a director and writer, knows exactly what he's doing. He's got it all planned out. And it's all, and the nostalgia, the 80s nostalgia. I think all them combined make an absolute superb film. And I do feel it definitely is going to be possibly my top film of the year for those reasons. And as I said, I think Pearl is a great film. She's wonderful in that. But it's not really connected. It's not it's a different character, of course. And this is more following on from what happens at the end of X. But you don't even need to have X, I don't think. You know, you could just watch this as it is. And it is, but to me, it's just, I just loved it. You know, sometimes you just fall in love with a film. You know, you can like a film, enjoy a film, but then there's something a bit more. And I just fell in love with the film. And I think it is the way that it's directed, the nostalgia factor, and Mia Goth's acting. She's just superb. I loved Infinity Pool last year. It was probably one of my favorite films, and she's in that. I thought, Christ, she is, what an amazing actress to be in such different roles in great films. You know, her acting ability is just amazing. I know that's what me going on, but they are. Hopefully,
you've surprised me with that answer. I thought you were going to say she was a cheap date.
I don't think she'd be interested in an old Yorkshire man who looks like Father Christmas.
I knew her at school, and she was a cheap date. I thought that's what you were going to say. So.
Oh dear.
Go on. The old ones are the best ones, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Go
on. Right, let's go to the next comment. Jim Jam Moves on TV picked up the complete Father, Dear Father. That's today. Oh, from CEX. Oh, yeah, it carries on. Oh, no, that's it. On this, I wondered how much it cost you. I bet it wasn't that, you know, you normally get a bargain, don't you?
Yeah, knowing him, 10 pence.
All I remember is Patrick Cargill was in this.
Yeah.
He has these daughters, and that's it. I can't remember much else of it. I'm sorry. Can you remember a bit more than that?
No, I didn't really enjoy Father, Dear Father, or How's Your Father with Harry Worth or whatever it was.
Oh, don't talk about Harry Worth.
You know, I mean,
Patrick Cargill, I don't really remember him that much. Just
it wasn't that memorable. I remember. No. I mean, I remember it. It's just
it's not one that stands out.
When it comes to sitcoms, I'm one of these people that's a little bit finicky, I suppose. I like things like Man About the House, and George and Mildred, and all of those sort of things. when it comes to a stuffy old dad and 2 teenage daughters and living in living in an upper class house or something,
Yeah.
Bless This House worked because of Sid James.
Yes.
You know,
It wouldn't have worked otherwise.
you know,
Actually, that is
and
true.
the very, I think
Yeah.
as well, wasn't it all written and directed by the same bloke who did? He was the wasn't he the lead of entertainment on Channel 4? His name, I've forgotten his name.
Oh,
He was the head of Channel 4 because he used to tell stories about how Sid James used to be a big gambler and he used to get him to go and put bets on for him and all of that.
Oh, right.
But Bless This House was blessed, obviously, with a great cast.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really into Patrick Carey. I'm not really into Harry Worth, and to be quite honest, you know what I mean.
I just remember the name, and that's it. I can't remember the series being that memorable.
Worth was more redeeming than Patrick Cargill.
Yeah.
Patrick Cargill was just a stuffy old man. Well, a stuffy.
It was another comedy doing the generation gap. His daughters were. That's what there was a theme often in that sort of era, where it was the generation gap, and that was the comedy which came from the generation.
I almost saw him as sort of like, what does he do as a job? I bet you anybody he runs an antique shop or something. You know what I mean? I can't remember quite what his job was and where he actually. But I do remember it was definitely that he lives in a big house. You could tell that, and it's going to be on a nice, expensive street. And he's got these 2 daughters,
and they'd have boyfriends with really long hair, and they were going,
coming in with and they drive around in a Beetle, and he doesn't like the fact that they're scruffy and got sideburns and all that.
That's right. It's all of that era.
Not really into it.
Yeah. And Jim John's movies and TV. Did anyone pick up that Batman bargain on Railways for £4.30? And I saw it. I didn't, but I suspect a lot of people now have done. It's been getting a lot of publicity. I've seen it. People popping up with it.
Yeah,
£4.30 is a very good price, I would say.
Yeah, and I'm not a big DC fan, so I bought the films, and I've bought the 60s TV show, but that's about as far as it's gone. I haven't bought any cartoon at all of DC. I haven't bought one. Oh no, I have. I've got Batman: Mark of the Phantasm. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's not for the fact it's not a bargain. It's the fact that I'd never get it anyway. Yeah. I mean, it's like only because it's not Marvel, really, and I was never really into the DC universe much. I watched Superman, I watched Batman, I watched Wonder Woman. Aquaman can go do one. You know what I mean? I'm not really.
Well, I think Aquaman was an absolute flop. I'm surprised it got 2 films. How on earth did it get 2 films?
Yeah.
Right. We've got Jim Jam Moves on TV saying, I'm definitely going to rewatch Box of Delights this Christmas. Yeah, good.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've ordered it, so I'll definitely watch it at Christmas.
Yeah, and then he's saying, Del loving the background. There you are.
Yeah, I thought I better put a special one on tonight. Halloween and all that.
And then we've got Steve's Gaming. Hi, guys.
Hey, my friend, here's my special salute to you, my friend. You bastard. Fucking hate you.
He says, have you guys pre-ordered the new Blake 7 Blu-ray? I'm a huge Blake 7 fan, but alas, no Blu-ray player here. Otherwise, I'd have it.
He's such a tight bastard. You can get a Blu-ray player for about 40 quid.
You can actually, I've seen them less than that.
Yeah,
I've seen them less than
that. I'll tell you what, the box set of Blake 7 costs more than the player does.
Yeah, I reckon you can get a Blu-ray player between 20 and 30 quid. You go on Amazon, I bet you could find one. Surely you can afford that.
I'll tell you, hang on, it's Steve. You know what I mean? Bloody hell. He can't afford 10p packet of crisp, you know what I mean? You know, if they're on special offer. You know.
And you can play DVDs on these players as well.
Oh, don't tell him that.
It
won't make a blind bit of difference, the miserable bastard. I'll tell you, I bet you well, take it like this. He lives up north
All right.
Right?
I knew you had to get that bit
Right?
in.
He's not far from Manchester, but he's over on the
Oh,
coast
he's on the
side.
other side.
Right?
He's
He's on the
Lancastrian.
coast. He's on the coast side, right? Of
Oh,
Manchester,
right.
right? Tight as they come. I reckon he lived next door to you.
Yeah, they're Lancashire. We don't get on with Lancashire.
You were separated at birth, you two, I tell you.
But yeah, seriously, they're not expensive. Perhaps he thinks they're expensive, a player. They're cheap, aren't they?
By the way, guys and girls, he's got a brilliant channel, a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Please, when you see somebody called Steve's Gaming, right, you know full well they're going to have a channel. Like Jim Jam Movies and TV. Got to have a channel with that name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ian Hill, The Ramblings. Got to have a channel, ain't you, with that name? You ain't going to have just a name that you go into a chat room with that, are you? So, yeah, he's got a channel. Definitely worth a watch.
Yeah.
But he's a miserable bastard. Just take it as read.
Yeah.
Miserable git.
Oh, dear. Jim Jam was on TV. Yep, I traded in my Arrow release of Killer Clowns as it gets re-released next week. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh.
Yeah,
I've never seen.
I think it's a steel book. I think it's a steel book. Yeah, that I've got.
Have you seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space? It's never appealed to me. It's not something I've wanted to.
You haven't missed much. It's all right.
Yeah. I imagine I'd think it was awful. I probably wouldn't get on with it. And then we've got it's
Josh
through the lens. Hello, fellas. Hello. Thank you.
I miss Josh. Then I learned to punch straight.
Oh dear.
That's an old joke as well.
Oh dear.
Miss, you see, punch straight. Oh, forget.
Yeah, we know. We heard. We was there. And everyone. Oh God, you can hear the groans. Del, missed you, mate. Another meetup needed. There you are.
Just gotta get this bloody heart situation sorted.
Yeah,
and I'll be doing it.
And Jim Jam, I've not watched Terrifier 2. Don't think I can. No, well, I wouldn't bother, but
I wouldn't bother.
Some people like it. Some people, as we know, in horror community, they think Terrifier
1 was a carry on to me. I mean,
it was not good, just boring. Really.
Yeah,
it's boring. It's not a good character. Haven't they heard of a story? Don't they know the meaning of a story?
Obviously not what I was watching. Bloody hell.
Yeah. The best feeling ever getting home from work and decide what network to watch before bed. Well, yeah, that's why we all have libraries and we all go, well,
you can watch
then I spend about half an hour deciding, trying to think which one shall I put on.
I tell you, the one I'd be watching is the one that's not very long if I'm going to bed. Jesus Christ. I mean, Christ, you don't want 4 1-hour productions on one disc or something to go to bed on. You'll be awake after 4 hours.
Oh, dear. Did you ever see Lucky Fella with David Jason? Sort of as a early Fools and Horses feel to it. I've never seen it. No,
I did see it. I think I saw one episode. They did a documentary of David Jason, and I remember going, "Oh, I wonder if you can still get that, or I wonder if there's any episodes on YouTube." And I remember seeing Lucky Fella. You like a sharp intake of breath, and he did this secret agent type thing as well that the IT.
It were a flop, wasn't it?
I think Lucky Fella was what I saw one episode of.
Yeah.
I don't remember much about it. It couldn't have been that great.
Yeah. I mean, not everything you do can't be a hit. It's how it is, isn't it? You're only as good as
he was a job
as the writers.
He was a jobbing actor, and he tried for ages to get a proper series made for him, and I mean, he wasn't even going to be considered to be part of Monty Python. I think he was.
Was it?
He was on the fringes.
Well,
something like that.
Yeah.
And then he was even considered for the Goodies. I think it was those people. It was those people that were on that did university comedy gigs. I think
Yeah.
David Jason sort
I
of
just
like
think of an alternative universe with David Jason in the goodies. That would be interesting.
imagine him with Monty Python.
Yeah. Wow. You'd have a totally different impression of him, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah,
Because Delboy is just such an iconic character that he's that's it. He's always going to have that character with him. Don't matter what
Well,
he does.
I had a problem. I had a problem seeing him in things like Frost and all of that sort of stuff because of
Yeah.
Only Fools and Horses. It was
Yeah.
like, what? There's Delboy who jobs around on the market square selling things out of a suitcase, and now he's a highly regarded policeman called
Yeah.
Frost solving murders. I was going,
Yeah.
what's all that? And
I
then
never watched it.
even that
Yeah.
country thing, where he's parking or whatever it was. What
Oh,
darling buds are made.
no,
Darling buds
I
are
saw
made.
look at that. I didn't like. No, well away from
I
that.
just didn't get on with these things.
Yeah,
afterwards,
yeah, I understand that. Yeah, yeah.
Although I didn't mind him in Porterhouse. Now I watched that.
Oh,
That was
I
a
love
brilliant
Porterhouse
drama.
Blue.
That was
I've
a
got that on
brilliant drama
DVD
series.
somewhere. Yeah, I've got that definitely on DVD. It's a good story. I remember reading those books.
Not many people
Yes.
talk about that, but it was a brilliant DVD. I've
It
still got
was.
the DVDs.
Yeah, I have. I've got it. It's absolutely.
Porterhouse on Channel 4. That was.
Yeah,
That was on a channel. That was a Channel 4.
It's so funny the bit with the rubber johnnies.
The rubber Johnny's all in the gardens and everything else.
Yeah, it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. They're coming out and they're there and some wonderful scenes in that.
Well, I thought it was going to be a sort of Mr. Chips, but it ended up being something totally different.
It was brilliant, really funny. It was.
But
really
I
funny.
do like films like Mr. Chips. Those those films, where there's a sentimental side to it. Or he was sort of like a gruff character, but you saw that he didn't want to be, and it was just a persona type thing.
Yeah. So we've got Jim Jam saying hi, Josh, and then we've got Steve's Gaming, Ian Dell. Halloween, fun or overrated? I used to love Halloween back in the day, but since that Trick or Treat came in, I have zero interest in it. It's just another day to me now. That's interesting because for a second I thought, I was thinking of Halloween the film, but he's on about Halloween as a celebration. I would say, from my viewpoint, when we were kids, Halloween didn't really exist. Nobody celebrated it much. We might have done a little bit at school, but I don't remember doing much. There was no trick or treat. There definitely was no.
I mean, I'm not really surprised you said that, really, because I mean, you worship the occult every day of the year, don't you, up in Leeds? Yeah, I mean, there's no Halloween's a day off. You know what I mean? Carry on.
No, well, bonfire night then had more significance because 5th of November, people were having bonfires in the neighborhood. They always used to get together and light a bonfire, and people did food, and it was a big celebration. Was bonfire night?
Yeah.
But Halloween wasn't. You might have got some people with even pumpkins weren't that common, as I remember, but it suddenly came over, and you had kids knocking at the door. And
I've only got really one opinion of Halloween, and if the kids get enjoyment out of it,
yeah,
I think it's a kid's thing to me.
Yeah, it's nice for them.
What it actually is has far gone from history, on what it actually means. Hallows Eve.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody really gets that.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where trick or treat was an American thing. Even my mum used to get pissed off. They used to come to the door, trick or treat. Said that's an American custom. We don't support American customs over here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we lived in a street where the American Air Force used to live.
Oh.
My next door neighbor was an American. Used to work at the American Air Force base. So, but I can imagine that it must be really good for the Americans. If you live on an American Air Force base, you've got your family living over here in the houses. And you want to have you want the kids to have a good time and make sure that they're far from home, and you want them to feel good. Great. It's just that I don't get it when bloody 17-year-olds knock on the door and go,
and with deep voices,
you're 17, you stupid bastard, piss off. You shut the door and they chuck eggs at your door and all of this sort of stuff.
That's right, the local thugs.
You know what I mean? Because that's what it is with Christmas carols as well.
Oh, we don't have that much nowadays, thank heavens. I think that has all virtually stopped.
17-year-old thugs go, we wish you were a gentleman. Go 50 pence, come on, you old codger.
Does schools make a big thing of Halloween? I wonder.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that they get a pumpkin in for the and they dress they because I think they like to do craft.
They'll do things like
it would be really big for them to sort of get them with making paper hats to take home or something and celebrate at home and all of this.
I know, it's because they do like doing these things. Like they have that National Book Day, don't they, where kids dress up as a children's book character.
Yeah, children's a famous character from your favorite book and that. Yeah.
Right. So says there is more storyline in Terrifier 3. Everything starts to get connected. Oh, well, I'm probably a fan of it, but
this is where I was going. Do you know what? There probably is, and it's nice to know that that's happening. But the trouble is, this is how I look at it. You think that they'd have joined the dots well before Terrifier 3. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, what is there an incentive for me to go and see the third one if I've watched the first two because I didn't like the first two? Is the third one going to change my mind? Question mark. And you'd have to think to yourself, nah, twice I've been fooled now. I don't really going to go and see to the pictures again.
Yeah, okay. And all I can think that they've probably done, which is what I've heard, is they've just thought of, try and do even more gory scenes because they've got nothing else to do. They just put more gory scenes in. I may be wrong. I haven't seen it. So...
I couldn't sleep last night. I was watching the 1944 Curse of the Werewolf.
Oh, brilliant film.
No, it's an awful film. Yeah. Right? I don't think you know which one I'm talking about. It's the 1944 Curse of the Werewolf, right? This is where there's a stuffy old museum where they're talking about this woman who escaped and went off to live with the gypsies or something. She was called Madame de Silver or something like that. All these, apparently in this house where this museum is, there's a secret sort of mantelpiece that sort of keeps opening and they go down it, right?
Yeah.
And there's this woman in it who's from Transylvania, and they all think, there's fingerprints inside this mantelpiece. Go and raid her apartment to see whether the fingerprints match, because I've got a funny feeling she's the killer or something, right? And the thing about it was she was driving for 2 hours to pick up her boyfriend and drive 2 hours back, right? When this thing, and the werewolf transformation, believe it or not, was a silhouette of the gypsy with a picture of her, and suddenly it turned into a dog picture.
Yeah.
There was nothing in between. There was no animated bit in between. It was not something a wolf.
Was this a British film then?
No, it's one of those knockoffs.
It wasn't Lon Chaney, was it? Lon Chaney.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think it's after. It's 1944. Those Universals were 1931. So I'm pretty sure it's probably
Werewolf far later. I think that was the first one they did.
I think it's one of those. It's the third werewolf film in the line, and basically they couldn't give a shit. It was sold on the basis of the other two films.
Well, they did loads of Draculas and stuff, which were rubbish. universal.
But
That's why Hammer is so much better.
It was on
Yeah.
Talking Pictures about 2 a.m. last night. I couldn't sleep. I was watching it and I was going, why am I still awake watching this shit?
Watching this.
I just want to go to bed and sleep, but I couldn't stop watching it. I was going, this is bad. It's got to get better soon.
Oh dear.
I mean, they killed the werewolf with a gun, with no silver bullets. There was none of
What
that.
happened to Silver Bullet?
Oh yeah, just killed her.
It was. Yeah. Right.
Bloody awful.
Jim Jones said, "I'm treating myself to a pink wafer this evening with Americano." Americano.
Gonna say, I hope that's decaf. You got to get some sleep, boy. Bloody hell.
Is that a soft drink? Americano.
That's a coffee.
Coffee. Oh, is it? See, I don't know nothing about coffees. Yeah, black or white.
Yeah, I mean, you've only just discovered putting milk in coffee.
Yeah, but it's black and white coffee.
You know, I mean,
or maybe an espresso.
You didn't even know they ground coffee beans to make coffee up there until last year, did you? You just thought they came in a packet.
So is a pink wafer then?
Yeah, pink wafer's a pink wafer.
Yeah, right. Steve Mall says, Ian and Delboy, sad news with the passing of Paula Diano.
Oh, yeah.
Iron Maiden. Those first two Iron Maiden albums are classics. Yeah, I've seen quite a lot of tributes to him, and I mean, I haven't. I appreciate. I've not got as much emotional attachment to Iron Maiden, but I do appreciate what they do. First two albums.
And you probably know from several conversations. I bought a steel case edition of Iron Maiden albums. I think it was the first 10 albums or something in this case. And I got to listen to the first 2 or 3 albums, and I was saying, you know, what my favorite tracks were off of the albums. I got to about album 3, and I haven't bothered going back. I'm not that huge a fan, but I do appreciate their work, and I think from what I've heard of all the tributes, what a fantastic standout guy this bloke was.
Yeah.
You know, you can't take away the legacy of something.
No.
So, you know, for all the people that are big Iron Maiden fans, you know, I feel
it's obviously a big thing for them. I mean,
not everybody is a Spider-Man fan, and when my favorite artist died a couple of years ago, nobody really bats an eyelid when I said, "Oh, it's the saddest day in the world. John Romita's dead or something." People would be going, "Who's he?"
Yeah, we all have it depends. We all have more emotional attachments. It's like I was upset when Joe Strummer died. He was only in 50, died of an heart attack, and it meant that there'd be no Clash reunion, basically. Not that he would have possibly done it, but that to me was a big thing. I thought, oh, Joe Strummer, what a talented writer, musician he was, and just sad. So you do get attached to people. And obviously, there's the big legends like Bowie. You know, you can't believe that he died. Michael Jackson, same with him.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you think about an artist. It's sad to hear.
Whitney Houston. I'm a big fan of Whitney Houston. I was really sad about Whitney Houston.
I mean, I'm not a big cyclist, but even I'm upset when I hear that Chris Hoy's got terminal cancer. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
of course.
You'd have to be a real hard bastard to actually sort of like, you know, life's too short.
Even in Prince. Now, I've learned more about Prince since he died. I didn't realize what an amazing musician, talented artist Prince was. And I think a lot of people kind of dismissed him more when he was alive. There was those that knew it's because of all the things that he did, and he was seen as a bit of an oddball, crazy man. But he wasn't. He was so talented, absolutely wonderful music that he produced. And it's sad that you learn about these people when they've died. You know, you're thinking, well, didn't I know that more when he was alive?
Yeah, there was many people. I don't know what it is, but I had this impression that Prince was a stuck-up prig. That
Yeah.
even the people around him found him not very nice to work around.
He
Right?
had the name change thing, and that there was all. He went through a silly period.
Oh no, that's what I call the media perception. But I was actually hearing this about other artists saying this.
Yeah.
Right now, when he died, then I heard stories about there was I don't know, there was Eric Clapton, and there was all of these great guitarists all on the stage, and he came on and without knowing anything, he came from the sidelines, came out, started playing all these guitar riffs, and everybody was blown away by it, and they all had a great time. They had drinks and all of this sort of stuff. And I was going, I'm sure I heard that one of you guys said he was a stuck-up prig and he was not very nice to get on with, and that he kept himself to himself and was a miserable bastard.
I think it's the media quite often.
The media's perception.
It's the media that does these things.
It bleeds over into other things that you think are true, but they're not.
Yeah, exactly. The media likes to create a story in a way, and that's what it does. And but you think to yourself, oh, it's such a shame that I should think that somebody, I'm getting into their music because they've died. It's a sad thing to think that, really. You're thinking, well, why didn't I like them when they were alive? But that's the way it goes. Did you know they do bullseye crisps in home back and stuff?
No, but if you hum it, I'll sing it. That's an old joke as well, isn't
it? Oh dear. I've still got Twisters to watch. Well,
I've still got Twisters to eat.
Yeah.
They're a brand of crisps from Sainsbury's, Twisters.
Yeah. And he says, "Oh, I enjoyed X. Still need to see Pearl and Maxine. Yeah, you'll enjoy them. I think so.
Yeah, I've got, as anybody knows, I've got Pearl and X as steel books. So Maxine as a steel book.
Pearl is a great performance by Mia Goth, but it's a different character. I say, it's before it's a prequel.
Does she have she have black hair and all that makeup and go around with big Docker Martens on and things like that?
Not in Pearl, no. It's very.
No, it's just that you said goth. So I just wondered if she was
dear.
You know, does she have pink? Does she have black lipstick on?
Oh dear.
Oh, what's wrong with that?
The jokes get worse.
It's a legitimate question.
They got me just because you use the term goth.
Yeah, goth.
She's not Susie of Susie and the Banshees.
All right. I had a picture of her then in black lipstick and eyeliner.
I do like Susie of the Banshees as well. Another great group, and she's a very striking image. Is Susie very much her image? Personally, I think sitcoms are poor these days. No originality. I don't know. I don't watch any.
I don't know of any sitcoms still being made. Are they being made now?
Actually, that's a very good point. Is there any?
No, I suppose BBC Three, if that's still going, probably does all that stuff. But they do these sitcoms. They do that that one I've seen where there's two delinquents that are sort of on probation going around.
Oh God, I've seen clips of that. It looks awful. I just can't be doing that.
I know that's
BBC Three. Oh.
No, I think I agree. I don't think. I think I said it best the other day. I said name a sitcom in the last 10 years. I don't think there's any sitcom that people talk about like they used to do with Steptoe and Son and Likely Lads and all that. It's just a dead thing now to broadcast TV. So
even BBC have given up with that. Is it Staying In or whatever it is? Or I don't know. That seemed to be on. I never watched it. I just
not going out. You mean not going out?
That's it. Not going out. I just
I think the last one they did was when Bobby Bull died, which, by the way, if anybody wants to know, I think you'll find he died October 28th, 2020. So it's the 4th year anniversary of Bobby Bull dying next week.
No.
Sad day, really. From my point of view, he was a proper northern comedian that I could really get behind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, where was he from? He was from Oldham, wasn't he? Oldham.
I don't know.
That's where he was from.
Wasn't it? Was it? Oh, well, that's wrong side. That's blooming Lancashire.
Yeah, but it's north, isn't it?
It's Lancashire.
I said he was a northern comedian.
Yeah, but it's Lancashire. It doesn't matter. It's Lancashire. We don't.
They play a lot of war with them. They play a lot of cards there, don't they?
And you heard of War of the Roses?
Yeah, they play a lot of cards in Oldham. They play a lot of cards in Oldham, don't they?
Old. Oh dear. Anyhow,
he was a welder, wasn't he? I think he was a welder, wasn't he? Tommy Cannon and Bobby Bull.
Yeah. Shelley is set. I get only on seasons 1 and 2. Oh, that's when I was talking about your Bennett, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember the title theme is all whistled, isn't it? It's whistled.
I don't remember the series much at all.
Yeah, the series
was quite popular, wasn't it? Was it for a few years?
It was a bit like you. He was a moany old bastard. He lived in this sort of like flat or something, and he had his missus there. Who keeps turning the light on and off? Miserable bastard in your house.
No, I don't know why that is.
Your lights must be on dim or something because you've just put 50p in the meter or something. I don't know.
Just put 50p in meter.
Yeah, so the light went a bit bright then when you put 50p in. It was on 50% power until that happened. Anyway, Shelley, I remember from the 70s. Yeah. I remember he was a
was he a layabout who just didn't do work or do anything?
He was looking for work, wasn't he? But he used to be somebody who went to work a lot, but he got fed up with how he was treated and just basically. I know he had a wife, in it.
All right.
Yeah.
Was he a bit of a daydreamer, sort of imagining, sort of. I don't know because I didn't see it.
I used to get confused with Shelley and Budgie.
Oh,
right?
Budgie!
I don't know why, because they're two totally different shows.
Very different.
Budgie's famous thing is catching all that money that's sort of like floating in the air, like at the very beginning, isn't it? And it was more a gangstery sort of like hard edge. Sort of thing, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
Shelley was a comedy in the 70s.
Yeah. That's all I remember.
It was a big one. It was a big comedy, as far as I know.
Yeah. It was. Ratings, I think, have been quite good. And then we've got Steve Moore saying, "Geez, Jim Jam, calm down with the comments."
More the merrier.
I'm getting my comments in quick before the rush. We've got a rush, haven't we? I don't think we have.
Can't remember the last time we had a rush, can
you? Steve, well, no one else is commenting, so I need to ask. Well, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
No, thank you, yeah.
Who's next? My favourite album other than Quadrophenia. Oh yeah, so he's connected. He's actually talking about who's next now. Quadrophenia, of course, yeah.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, you both live up north from
and then my favourite Who song is on that, Barbara Riley, of course, yeah.
Well, like I said, it's that synthesizer beginning that makes me remember Barbara O'Reilly.
Yeah. Tony, hello, Tony. Evening, Ian and Del. I've just got your fantastic voyage ready to post, Del.
Now, sod you bastard.
Multi-watchers there, Ian. You have good taste. Won't be bothering with Terrifier. Wasn't anyway. No, I don't think it'd be up your street either, Tony.
Oh, look at this. Look, some quality watches there, Ian. Yeah, because they're the ones that you sent him.
Well, he's got good taste. He knows.
Has he buggery? He likes all the free bloody attention, bastard.
Yeah, you won't like Terrifier. We've said our bit about Terrifier. If there's any Terrifier fans, I'm sorry, but we couldn't help it. I just had to go. I told it. Think Del ordered it already. Yeah, he knows. He's got it. He was flashing
during
it
the
around.
bloody show.
The expression at the beginning. Oh dear. And Through the Lens. I'm really excited for Gladiator 2. It's maximalist. It's maximalist.
Maximalist.
Maximalist. Sorry, filmmaking. It's largest, and I can't wait.
I mean, I'll put it in Northern language. It's
a big epic movie, lad.
It's epic filmmaking.
Yeah. Well, that's it. There you are.
Because you're from the land of Cecil B. DeMille, so you sort of like know about big, expensive, epic films like Cleopatra and that. Because you were going to be an extra in that, weren't you, Cleopatra?
What about the 10 Commandments, which you mentioned before? That's an epic film, and one of the best.
I'll tell you what. That's one film where I'd say, look, if you see it for 10 pence on DVD, buy it. But I tell you what, it's worth a 4K bloody buy.
Yeah, it is.
That is a reference disc if ever I've seen one.
Yeah,
that one. Jesus, that picture film, the picture on the 10 Commandments, because it's been through the American Preservation Society, you know, where they preserve certain films for historical reference. Because of that, the negative of that is preserved. It's a gorgeous 4K. I mean, it really is a 4K to behold, you know.
I'll tell you the thing about 10 Commandments. It was a film which just shows you how well it did in the box office. It was one that always came out every so many years, and I remember my dad taking us in 60s to see it. And then in 70s, I even went later on. It was one of those just an amazing film. It just stands out. It's like Ben-Hur and 10 Commandments.
Ben-Hur? Is that the girl version of Ben-Hur? Is it Ben-Hur?
Oh,
bloody hell, man!
Ben-Hur, lad. Oh my heck. I don't know. Yeah, mind you probably think that the remake's the best one.
Yeah, well, there was a first one, wasn't there? And a second one. They're both, aren't they both directed?
Oh no, actually, they did. I was trying to be clever there, but I was wrong. I've misfired because I think there is a silent version of it.
Yes, and it was done by, and they're both directed by the same director.
Yeah, and then he did the other one.
Cecil B. DeMille did the silent one and the 50th one.
Yeah. I know they did a terrible version, didn't they? Later, how could they do that to that film?
Yeah.
Oh, crikey. It's such a good film. That hasn't come out, has it, on 4K, Ben-Hur? I'm surprised.
No, it hasn't. No.
I'm surprised at that.
We've had Spartacus. We've had the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
We haven't had that one. I mean, my mum rewrote the 10 Commandments and put them on our fridge, you know, as a kids. She put, thou must do the washing up. Thou must put your clothes away. She put all of that. And we had to, she said, that Sunday school, that's what you got to follow up there. Right? And I had to do all the hoovering and the dusting. Kid.
Yeah.
We had the 10 Commandments up on the fridge.
Yeah. Tony Oak says, "Evening, James. It's a sort of private joke from last week."
Public joke from last week. Everybody at my expense.
Fair enough, Tony. That's Jim Jam. Jim Jam was interesting. What do you think is the best Marvel or DC for TV series? You must choose one.
Let you go then. Go on. I'll let you go first.
Does he mean one from each?
Well,
one
I'm gonna take it that it is, but I think he meant you've got to choose one. But I'm gonna let you choose one from Marvel and one from DC. You won't be able to come up with either, but go on.
No, well, I will say the original Batman in my hands is the best. Adam West and Burt Ward. So I would put that as DC series. Marvel series, I suppose. I know it pains me to say it because he's there in front. I know he's a big fan. He's Spider-Man. I have to say that.
What? From 1977?
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
I have to say one Spider-Man series because
honestly, if you'd have said the Hulk TV series,
crikey, I forgot about that. Oh yeah, you see, I don't know Marvel that well. Hulk, of course, Hulk was essential viewing.
As far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm concerned, my Marvel suggestion is the Hulk.
Yeah,
nothing
because I loved it.
Nothing beats 5 seasons of that.
It was great. Absolutely loved it.
Bill Bixby, Lou Ferrigno. I was there every week, 5 years.
Yeah. It was great.
When it comes to DC, it's a bit harder.
Yeah.
Because I would say the Batman from the 60s is the best.
Yeah.
But I have been watching The Penguin just recently.
Yeah.
That is a good TV series. I am going to still go with Batman. I am still going to go with Batman from the 60s. I mean, you got to remember it was 3 years, and how often has that been imitated? You've got to turn around and say, if somebody imitates something, it's the biggest form of flattery that you can do.
That is.
And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, there are things like Wonder Woman that were good, but they lasted 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, she was brilliant, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Wonder Woman. I forgot their name.
What was the name that played
Linda Carter. Linda Carter.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she was good.
She was brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's just that I think I've got to go with Batman because there's all that same back time, same back channel. And there's
the thing about Batman,
there's the Neil Hefti music, Batman.
It's a cultural thing with Batman that it didn't just be a TV series, it spread into popular culture.
Yeah.
And when you've got a series that does that, it's
when you consider the comic had been going for 20 plus years when that series came out, and people still only know the bat symbol because of the TV series, you got to turn around and go, wow, that comic sold in its millions.
Yeah.
And yet, if you were to ask a question worldwide back in 1965, do you recognize this bat symbol? Then I go, no.
Yeah.
But that come the TV series and it's mass syndication.
And it was
Everybody knew what the bat symbol was.
Yeah.
Everybody
knew about Batman.
You've got to turn around and say second to none. Batman.
Yeah. Honestly, at school, there were 2 things that we talked about. Daleks, which of course explains everything, and Batman and Robin. Because kids, we saw Batman and Robin and thought, wow, this is for us. And then when it came out as a film, going to cinema to see it was absolutely amazing.
You see, up in the north, right?
Oh, here we go.
You see, it was easy to make utility belts because you asked for your dad's old money belt. You say, Dad, can I have your old money belt, please? Because I want to make a utility belt out of it. Because that's where money belts come from, is from Leeds, I've heard. That's where they originated from. Like bastards. A lot of you.
And then we've got Steve's Gaming says, both suck in my opinion. Oh, well, that's a pretty strong opinion.
That's right. Steve is very, very, very sort of like well opinionated, I mean, he does he knows his stuff. He likes his Randall and Hopkirk. He likes Blake 7. If something is superhero or something and he's not into it, he'll tell you. He doesn't mean to offend by anything. It's just in his opinion, they both suck.
That's what he says. Yeah, and which everybody, as we know, we've all got different views on things.
I mean, he's wrong and he's a northern git.
Oh God, yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
when he was asking where his friends were, you forgot to mention that they all moved to another city, get away from him.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
He was the only person who went to school because all the others buggered off and said, "We ain't going
yeah.
here. Well, easier."
No, I can't imagine him liking Terrifier movies, so we'll agree, I think, on that. But I may be wrong. He might be a secret fan, but God, yeah. Please. Tony says, I enjoyed the first 4 MonsterVerse, Kong, Godzilla films, but not seen the latest. Think there's been enough now, unless they can come up with some kind of new storyline. You're probably right, because
But even if they come
where
up
else
with
do you go?
even if they come up with a new storyline, you know
Yeah,
that they're just going to fight at the end, and there's going to be a
and
big
then we're
stalemate.
ready for next film. Yeah,
At the end of the day, when King Kong was out and when Godzilla were out, they were two separate, different IPs, two totally
yeah,
different intellectual properties. It
yeah,
was sort of like we're going to do a one-off where Kong meets Godzilla, right? That's what Hollywood was. It was like, we're going to do a
yeah,
one-off. Now it's every bloody film.
yeah,
The next one's going to have Kong in it, then the next one's going to have Kong in it, and the next one's going to have Kong in
yeah.
it. It's not a one-off anymore. It's now,
No,
where is he? Because he was in the last one.
it's milk it and we'll make more money out of it. I don't care what script.
So I look at it from a point of view that it's purposely made to have both of them in now.
Yeah,
And before, it was a special thing to actually see
yeah,
two big monsters in the same film together. You know what I mean? It was
yeah,
like comic books. You used to have someone like the Thor battle the Hulk, right? And it was
yeah,
like Asgardian versus Green Behemoth, who can win, right? That was a one-off, right? It was
yeah,
like, right. It was like once every 3 years, something like that had happened, right? There'd have been 30 or 40 issues between the two events,
yeah,
right? And then on this now, it's like every film's got to have both of them in it.
yeah, yeah,
What are they going to do? Work together and partner up, and it's going to be called. It's going to be Cagney and Lacey, of the Godzilla and Kong. You know what I mean? Just imagine both of them were walking down the street together, sort of like working out who's going to bust crimes today. Bloody awful.
I'm surprised they haven't got Jaws in it. Why don't we bring Jaws in?
Let's bring Flipper and Skippy the bush kangaroo.
Let's bring them all out. What is it? Orca the killer whale.
Yeah, we'll have Daktari in it.
I enjoyed Kong versus Zilla, says Jim Jam, and Jim Jam William.
Oh, that's the name of the director that I was telling you that did Bless This House and was the managing director of Channel 4 that did 15. Yeah, he did 15 to 1. 15 to 1. That was it.
The Kenny Everett video show is a great release. Yeah, I used to enjoy Kenny Everett.
I think the ITV production was so much better than the BBC production.
I enjoyed it. Yeah,
I used to love the cartoon Captain Kremen.
Yeah,
had Carla and she had big knockers, right? I didn't really get the idea of big knockers because it was like the 70s, right? I was only about 9 years old when that.
Well, that's not. That's
no, but there was all these sexual references, between Carla and Captain Kremen. But you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
it's true.
Yeah. I remember looking at Racco Welsh when I was watching when 10 Million Years BC out, and I knew exactly what was going on then. I was only about 6 years old. Yeah. Charles Duncan, when you were talking about the Who CD earlier in your show, what a show I like that. Yeah. What was the movie called when Roger was dressed as a teddy boy?
I've seen that, and I can't remember the name of it myself.
I've not seen
Was it that? No, wasn't that'll be the day? 'Cause that's
McVicker.
David Essex, isn't it?
Was it McVicker?
Oh, he was in McVicker.
He was in McVicker. Yeah.
I don't know if that was the Teddy Boy one, but I think he was in McVicker.
I don't know.
Do you want me to look it up? Do you want me to look it up? Because I can't think.
Teddy Boy.
Yeah. You go and look it up. Well, all you got to do is just put films with,
Right. Yeah.
I'll let you look it up.
I should have let you carry it and look it up, actually. Film.
Yeah, because you're a lazy bastard.
Well, you got to make use of yeah, aren't you?
Yeah, you just don't want people to see you with your glasses on.
Right, films. Roger Daltrey films. We've got Johnny Was, never heard of that one.
Just look at the 60s and 70s.
Frequency. No.
It was the 60s and 70s, so which one's that? Yeah, it's got McVicker here. Legacy. Tommy, of course. Listomania. That's the crazy one. Ken Russell film, isn't it? Don't go off on one. Find the bloody film.
Well, look, I've been reading them out. I'm getting no response from you. What else was I saying? Lightning Jack.
That's bloody 80s. That's 80s and 90s you're looking at now.
Yeah, these are all 90s. Vampirella. Apparently, he was in that.
Yes, he was in Vampirella. It was a bloody awful film. Carry on.
I've never seen it.
I want to know the 70s film that he was in, where he was a teddy boy, not the bloody 90s.
70s. There's only 3 70s films. There's Tommy, there's Listomania, and there's one called Legacy. And then McVicker is 1980.
It's got to be McVicker then, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, McVicker, which I said. The first film I said. You see.
Yeah, but you know what it is that we just can't believe you.
You're a bit behind down south.
Your memory shit.
You just, well, what can I say? It must be something to do with air down there.
Yeah, you must have been eating that brain food, those fish fingers or something.
No, wrong with fish fingers, mate.
No, not when you can get them for free like you can.
David GPS said, "Hi Ian, hello. Watched the horror movie The Legacy with Roger Daltrey last night, and would you just mention The Legacy? That's it. It's a classic. That must be lit tie up. Yep. Thank you. Yeah." And then Tony says, "I remember William G. Stewart hosting the quiz show 15-1. Oh God, yeah. I think Patrick Cargill's character was a writer in Father Dear Father." Oh, I don't remember really that much. The one
he just came across stuffy like he was some sort of like antique dealer or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he had those sort of like jackets on that make you look like you're in the country and all that.
The One Balls is getting a Blu-ray release. And
don't tell Denny, he'll be bloody buying it.
Yeah. Who remembers a series called The Worker with Charlie Drake? Unfortunately, I do. I thought it was awful. I couldn't stand Charlie Drake.
I liked Charlie Drake as a kid when they showed his films in the, in sort of like the afternoons when you're off school or in a bank holiday or something. Because I used to like his catchphrase, my darling.
Right?
But I've heard that The Worker was one of those great ITV sitcoms that if you watch it now, it's like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
to watch. It's not like The Plank or anything like that. It's it was sort of like they gave him a Bobber Jobbles type thing to do, and it was just him getting it all wrong and all of this sort of stuff. And apparently, it was the one show that had him out of work for 9 or so months, wasn't it? Because they pulled him through some set or something that was supposed to be half broken, so that it collapsed when he went through it, and they didn't tell the set decorator, and he nailed it as if it was a proper prop, and he went flying through it, and then they chucked him through a glass window. And apparently it broke his back, his collarbone or whatever it was. And he was off work for months and months and months.
In his later years, I know he was reduced, and it is
he had no money. He went
working with. Is it Jim Davis and?
Yeah, in Cinderella also. In Cinderella,
it was pathetic, awful. They thought they were funny. They weren't funny at all. It was
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure, Charles Drake would have rather have been in retirement, but he went bankrupt. I'm sure he went. Thanks very much, Jim Davison, for giving me the chance to do this.
Yeah, I suppose he did. But have you seen clips of him? I mean, he looks drunk on stage.
Well, yeah. I mean, he died soon afterwards, didn't he?
Drunk, yeah. It's sad, isn't it? Sad when that happens. When it's just here we are. Steve's Gaming Blu-ray player for £20 to £30. It probably lasts a week. Buy cheap, buy twice. Oh,
well, bloody hell! 60 quid, man. Bloody hell, 60 quid. That's twice the price. Look, you only have to buy it once, then, don't you? Jesus Christ, man! Buy 2 of them, and when the other one breaks, you can have the other one on.
It'll last you a lifetime. What the heck? You can't say fair as that. That's good investment.
He's such a tight git. You can tell he's separated from birth from you.
I'm not tight.
Such a tight git.
David GPS. Ian, did you like the Who Face Dancers and its hard albums? To be honest,
yeah, Ian, did you like the Who Face Dancers and its hard albums? I just thought I'd mention it. Go on.
Yeah, go on. I've not listened to those albums. No.
Bloody hell!
I've not. I've only listened to like that one. I tend to, with these sort of groups, I tend to look up what the best albums are, and if I find them cheap, then I order them and get them.
See what I mean? Yeah, if it's not 10 pence, you ain't interested.
Music Magpie are really good at supplying my album collection, as you saw when I got the AC/DC one back in black.
He only goes into town because he's got a bus pass.
Yeah. I was trying to get some. Unfortunately, I was trying to get some Beatle albums, but you can't get them really cheap. So I've had to pay about 10 quid
pence now. Yeah, 20 pence
10
now.
quid is for a Beatles album, brand new.
Must have cost you 20 pence.
But so sometimes I do pay extra money, but I tend to, I have to really go for it.
He barters in the charity shops over DVDs that cost 10 pence. Can I give you 8 pence for it, love? That's what he went the other day when he was in there.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and he went into town because he's got a bus pass.
David says, Jim Jam terrifying movies are overrated and just not scary. I hate them. I think we haven't said we hated them. We just don't like them. We really don't like them, and they are overrated. The way people go mad about them in horror community just makes me laugh. Just ridiculous. Jim Jam this week's been watching a lot of early Barker. Hark at Barker and Footocks End.
Hark at Barker I've seen. Footocks I don't think so.
It's a load.
I mean, Hark at Barker, I've seen those. I've seen the Seven Faces of Barker and all of that sort of stuff. I've seen a lot of that. Was the week that was with where he was with Ronnie Barker. You know, it was both of the Barkers together on. You know, that's where they paired them up, wasn't it? It was from that
I remember
Sunday evening show.
he did this one where he was a photographer and it wasn't very funny.
Oh, he did Clarence and he did a lot of other stuff.
They weren't very funny. They weren't very good.
He did this one where they're all Welsh. I didn't get that one either.
No. Yeah. Hit and miss, I'm afraid.
Well, that's why they did the 7 of Barker.
Yeah.
And 2 shows out of 7, you got to turn around and say that's gold. I mean, Christ.
Yeah. Well, it is if you what you produce.
They did the comedy Playhouse, and Steptoe and Son came out of that. A number of shows, but they're all different writers. I mean, if one writer wrote the whole 7 plays that were in his series, and 2 of them came out and are absolute comedy gold, that's got to be you got to turn around and say that he was just a writer, you know, a fantastic writer. I mean, you know,
yeah,
brilliant.
David says, do you remember comedy Blot on the Landscape? George Cole. I do remember Blot on the Landscape, but it's not a memory I have a lot of, but I do remember that. I'm sure, was it another Channel 4 one that? You know, like Porterhouse Blue. I think it could well have been the same writer who did Porterhouse Blue. Can you remember any of that?
He didn't ask me. He asked you. It's got Ian. Do you remember?
I'm just asking you.
He didn't put Del.
I'm just asking you if you have any further information.
As far as I'm concerned, he can sod off. I ain't answering him. He hasn't asked me.
This is what you get.
Ian and Del. Do you remember? It's just Ian. Do you remember?
This is what you get. Yeah.
Like I'm not here.
Yeah, what can you say?
Miserable bastard. No. David, no. Lovely to see you here, by the way. Blot on the Landscape. Yeah, it was a Channel 4 program. I think it was on at the same sort of time that time scale that George Cole was doing the Leeds adverts. You know, the Leeds TV adverts where he was selling the Leeds Building Society.
Yeah.
I think it was After Minder.
Yeah.
I think it was a Channel 4. Yeah, it was that or an ITV. It was definitely not a BBC. I don't think it was a BBC.
No, I don't think he worked with BBC.
George Cole, I don't think I ever really saw him much on BBC. He was definitely an ITV player. You know what I mean?
I know he pops up in roles in sort of early 60s films and through 60s in various, not big roles, but he
was in St. Trinians. Well, he was in St. Trinians, wasn't he?
Yeah. He does go back a bit, certainly his career.
He was the fly by night, weren't he? The Fancy Dan type thing.
Yeah. We've got here Tony saying, watch the Bar G this week. Had Ronnie Barker in an early supporting role to Harry H. Corbett. Enjoyable. Lots of 60s views of the canals. I like it when you see.
I don't remember the Bar G. I bet you my friend Steve does. He's got. I'll tell you what. He did a picture of his DVD collection. Right, it's full of ITV and BBC 60s and 70s shows.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, I know why he's not buying a Blu-ray player. Because
he's got so many DVDs.
No, he's scared. I mean, trying to upgrade that lot to Blu-ray is going to cost him a bloody fortune. I can't do anything but DVD, love. No.
I bet you if he's got a big collection, I bet a lot of them haven't got Blu-ray releases anyhow.
That's true.
Yeah, but you can play DVDs on a Blu-ray player, and I don't know if he knows that, but he can do that.
You know what? He probably doesn't.
Yeah.
Basically, no, he's very technically minded, mate. He's got computers and all sorts of stuff. He obviously knows.
Yeah,
but, I just think he's too tight.
Jim Jones says, Dale, he's asking you now. Go on. Do you have many charity shops in your town?
I can name about 4, 5, and then there's Keks and cash converters. So there's 2. There's a cash converter, a Keks, and about 4 or 5 charity shops.
Right. There you are.
And of course, in Leeds, they're all charity shops, aren't they? It's every other one.
Steve's Gaming says the Bar G is really good.
I told you he'd know. Told you.
Yeah. Jim Jones says there is a special feeling of watching an old film. Feels warm and nostalgic. Yeah, I can get that. You can get that warm feeling. Some of these old films, 1930s. I think, wow. Yeah.
Well, for you, it's remembering when you used to go to the pictures for a penny. I mean, for God's sake,
a penny.
You know what I mean, that's what brings it all back to you, isn't it? Is when you used to bring it when you used to go to the pictures, cost you 1 pence,
and still get change.
I mean, I remember when I was going to the pictures and my mum handed over a £1 note.
God, blimey, that would you'd have been rich with a £1 note then, bloody hell.
It was for you, £1 note, bloody hell, before decimalisation.
Do you remember? Do you remember 10 bob notes?
How many pennies were
you
there?
Don't remember 10
like
bob notes.
What was it? 240 pennies to £1 or something, wasn't it?
That's God, yeah, it was actually. It was a strange kind of number before decimalisation.
Just do remember that we really didn't get into decimalisation until about 1973. So I was what? I was 3. I was just going. I was a year away from nursery school, so basically, I was in that in between stage.
Yeah. I remember you used to go to shops in that period, and there'd be 2 prices. It'd have, I don't know, 5p, and then it would have 2.5 pence side or something like that.
I'm telling you now, you were still on bloody old coins up until about 1979 in Leeds. You only got the electric in 1980. I mean, you were still. I told you last week you were still on a can and a string to bloody phone somebody up next door.
Oh dear. What can you do? Andy makes Star Wars. Hello, happy Wednesday, lads. I rewatched Day of the Dead on Sunday. The practical effects great in places. However, it bored the life out of me. What's your thoughts on it? Thanks. Go on then.
What's your thoughts? You talk about Day of the Dead. Go
on. It's Dawn of the Dead that's the better one.
Yeah.
Day of the Dead is that the underground one?
It's the third one, isn't it? Day of the Dead. It's the one where they've got borders and everything around, like a gate system that they can't get through.
Yeah.
The stately. I think there's people live in a big sort of like city skyscraper or something, and that's where somebody lives or something, isn't it? Is that right?
Oh, I thought isn't that the week of the Dead?
Or is that the 4th one?
Yeah, this is the third one. When you get underground base.
Yeah, when you get past the precinct one, I start going into. I'm not quite sure.
I don't remember it as much. It was just okay, as I remember. It wasn't as good as Dawn of the Dead, which just is outstanding. Day of the Dead, I don't remember quite as much. I'm sure it's underground that one bit.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. It's just that there was I remember there being a sort of like barbed wired fence thing that they couldn't get through, and they all started to come through, and then they started ripping people apart, just like the precinct one. And all of that.
It doesn't have the originality of the Dawn of the Dead in its the way it is. I don't think Dawn of the Dead is outstanding.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sorry. That's just as I say it. You said it bored you the life out of you. Well,
I think it's weak. I don't know whether
yeah,
I don't know whether it's
I can't
bored.
remember much of it really. So
The other thing I might have said was it might have been too long, because
yeah,
as much as Dawn of the Dead is a longish film, at least there was enjoyment with it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because there's been extended cuts of that push it beyond, a little bit.
yeah.
Oh, the bargee! I'm intrigued with the bargee.
This Jim Jones says, I'm intrigued with the barge. All right.
I think he meant bargee, but yeah,
Not onion bargee.
not onion barge.
Yeah.
Bloody hell!
Bargee.
Trust you to think of food.
Yeah. Mind you, it's funny, I've said that, and I don't really like Indian food much at all. I'm not into spicy food. I can manage an onion bargee, but there we are. I've noticed Del's favourite word is
Bastard. Bastard.
Bastard. There you are. That's what he's known. That's
because they're all bastards to me. I told you.
Tony says, Steve, yes, it wasn't laugh out loud funny at all, but just a good, enjoyable film.
I remember what Steve was talking about. The bargee.
And was it original Day of the Dead or remake? You see, he knows far more than that.
Yeah, they've made it twice, haven't they? That's right.
Yeah,
and I think my friend Denny bought me the American one that comes on free.
Is that bad? Do you think it's probably better, the remake?
Yeah, I think. Basically, it came out on a boutique label, and it's on free discs. And my friend bought it for me and said it's classic. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
So that it must be better, because I doubt he wouldn't have bought shit. So yeah.
Charles Duncan, Halloween for me, it's easy. When the kids knock at the door, all my lights off in the house, and they think I'm out. Yeah, I get that. And we're not in.
Yes, that's how people in the Leeds save money. All the lights are off in Leeds. The whole city's
we're not
asleep.
in. Go to that Delboy's house.
Go down south.
Knock on the garage door, and he might have to open it up. And then you can have a look at all those steel books piled up.
Go down south, because Leeds is shut.
Give them away as a treat for you.
Leeds is off the power grid on that night.
All them blooming steel books, and they're all unopened as well. So you do a great deal with them. Yeah, totally unopened. Jim Jumbo was to say, might watch original Dracula this year. Well, worth watching.
Nosferatu.
Oh, yeah, of course. Is it the silent Nosferatu you would watch, Jim Jam? Or would you watch the 1931 Bela Lugosi?
That's what I would have considered as the original Dracula, but Nosferatu. But yeah, the Bela Lugosi Dracula in 1931. And then are you going to watch the Spanish one, or are you going to watch the American one? The Spanish one was filmed first, apparently, wasn't it?
I suppose if he's talking about that, the Nosferatu's coming out, isn't it, before Christmas?
Yeah, that's why I thought. Is that
I wonder if it's yeah. Hello, Danny. How are you? I'm good. I'm glad you're okay. Thoughts on The Fog? Absolutely brilliant. The first
bloody all for the driving.
The Fog is brilliant. It's just one of his great films. It's one of the first films I ever bought on VHS. I remember it well. It's such a good film, and it's
you stole all the other films.
Yeah, they did a remake, and it's awful, absolutely awful. And I love The Fog. I think it's great. It's a good film to even watch at Halloween. You can put that on with Halloween films. Great.
Brilliant, brilliant. It's brilliant if you live in a lighthouse.
Yeah, there's a whole subject there on lighthouses and brilliant. Doctor Who, going about that lighthouse story.
No, I mean, it's just that you've got no problems with the fog if you live in a lighthouse, have you? So.
Yeah. Oh dear. What are your thoughts on The Fog then?
No, it's a great Carpenter film, isn't it? I mean, what
Yeah.
can you say about it? I like the idea about it is that it's all about. He does this really well. He concentrates on a particular town. The particular town has always got some weird conspiracy or thing that's gone on in it.
Yeah.
Right. And then they recap it really well what that thing was towards the end of the film or in the middle of the film, so that you totally, as an audience, you totally understood why this thing's going around, because he will make it so that the menace is not knowing why they're doing what they're doing. He does that really well. I love The Fog. Yeah. I mean, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant film.
Yeah, I think it is. It's still one that you can watch now, I think, and really enjoy it.
I've got the 4K of it, and I don't understand why, because everything is all fogged out. I mean, you're not exactly like going to see spectacular color, are you? With the fog, the fog's grey, isn't it? You're not gonna get hyper-dynamic range, are you, with a 4K version of The Fog?
Oh dear!
I wonder why I bought it. Really, I could have kept the DVD.
Yeah, well, it probably was a steal book, and it's one you've got to have for the collection, even though you never watch them.
Yeah, it was a steal book, actually.
Yeah, I mean, fancy buying all these and never watching them. I mean, what person does that? Oh, hello, Delboy.
Shut your face.
What person does that? Oh dear. Tony says, I've seen Hammer releasing an enormous set of Captain Kronos. Yeah, Vampire Hunter. No price until October the 31st. 2 times 4K, 3 times Blu-ray, book, comic, poster, art cards. God, I bet that's expensive.
Well, even
Mondo,
even Mondo was speculating about the price.
And what did he say?
I thought to myself, with that many discs in it, I'm my initial sticker price is $59.99. With it being Hammer's first one out, with 5 discs in it, with a poster, a comic book. The comic book, by the way, is a reproduction. Captain Kronos was actually brought out as a movie adaptation by I think it was Marvel Comics, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy it, but I think it's a weird title to have as the first one. Captain Kronos was never a big film to me.
It's not one that you immediately think of as a Hammer. It's not.
I think of it as a Hammer. It's just think of it like.
But I mean, if you ask people,
I think of it in the same way as Vampire Circus or Twins of Evil. Or
it's not. You'd have thought the first one would have been, I don't know, the Frankenstein or the Dracula one. You'd have thought they'd have put out first.
Captain Kronos is sort of like a buccaneer type thing. He's got a blade, and and he rides around on a horse, and it's all set. It's like Witchfinder General, but with a swashbuckler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In fact, actually, it's Ian Ogilvy's character out of Witchfinder General. That's what it is, isn't it? It's a bloke out the army, isn't it? The Civil War or something.
It looks good, but I'm not going to get it. It'll cost too much money. I'm happy with what I've got. That's how I look at it. I can't afford it, really. There's too many of them. But I'm sure it'll be a lovely release.
It's more wonderful. It's more than 20 pence or a stamp from Tony.
60 quid.
That's the figure off the top of my head based on how many discs. That's all. If you bought Doctor Who, the box set, it's £55 and it's got about
I know
5 books in it.
that's my one exception. In fact, I've got that on order and I'm waiting
No,
for.
but it's got five. It's got five. What I'm saying is, it's got 5 or 6 discs in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, Blake 7 is out next month as well, isn't it?
Well, that's $39.99.
Yeah, I've got to get that no matter what. Blake 7, but this one I wouldn't feel that I have to get it.
Oh, you mean Tony's not sending it, yeah?
Yeah. Oh dear.
Well, I am surprised.
Yeah, you would be, wouldn't you? I'm not surprised that you'll have your pre-order in for that. Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not even on Steelbook, so up yours.
Of course. Yeah. You'll have to stay unopened, not enjoying what's inside.
It's only because I've got so many to bloody open. The arm
But what you can make a start by when they come in. Start opening them now. Have a look. Enjoy. All that. Look at that. A book, a comic, a poster.
So I can do an unboxing.
They've got to be garage. Nope.
I've got to keep them sealed for when I do an unboxing, ain't I?
Oh, dear me. What can you say? David GPS says The Fog is an amazing movie. It is indeed.
Well, it is. I mean, he's going to say that, isn't he? Because he invented the GPS. Look, you can only drive around in the fog when you've got GPS, isn't it? I mean, there you are.
Oh dear. Oh, what can you say? Jim Jam says, now here's a tough question, Eck. If you could go back in time to one gig concert, what would it be and why? Blooming heck.
Yeah, but you see, again, is that one that you've been to, or is that any gig that that's been on in existence?
I suspect he's thinking it. His own gigs, but I know what you mean. If it's a big difference, a massive difference.
I mean, if it's a gig that I've been to, it would be Live Aid.
Yeah, of course.
If it's a gig, any gig that's been on in the world, I might go to Woodstock for all I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't know on that one.
I suppose. I'll give the two answers then. I'd say you've kind of given them. So you've said Live Aid and you've said Woodstock, which are great answers, and I think absolutely. And
you could turn around and say Beatles at the
Shea Stadium or Beatles in Cavan. I mean, I would possibly, if I was saying festivals, I'd say Isle of Wight Festival. What the Who was on that one, weren't there? The Doors.
Oh, I thought you liked motorbikes. Then sorry, go on.
Oh dear! Look, you're probably going Isle of Wight Festival. Oh, I've never heard of that one.
That's Isle of Wight.
It was a classic festival that has had so many great artists there over years. I think they've revived it actually, but it's not probably got the same anymore because there ain't much out, is there, nowadays? Obviously, I would love to have gone to Live Aid, but I didn't. But somebody else did over there.
Yeah. I don't live that far from it, do I?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bloody big trek for somebody to go from Leeds all the way down to London for that, isn't it? Really? No, it is. I'm being serious.
Yeah, well,
I mean, that would have been a trek and a half when you consider that the whole of London wanted to go to that. I mean,
yeah. Well, you've got to get to usually it's from Leeds. It'll be King's Cross, and then from King's Cross, you've got to find the nearest tube station to Wembley. And that's quite a task going across London.
I mean,
yeah.
Well, Wembley was not even in the centre of London. I mean, it's on the outskirts.
I remember when I went there, and it was a hell of a journey. We were going we had to go quite early to get down. And the journey to arriving in London was a help. Getting to Wembley was.
For you, this is how bad it would have been. You'd have had to gone from Leeds, found all of the train stations that you'd have needed to change to get into the centre of London, and then you'd have had to have got the tube stations out of London to get to Wembley.
Yeah, it was a palaver.
You'd be going into the centre of London to then go out of London.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to do it all again on the way back.
Yeah. Because I remember another time going on
that to me would have been too. That would have been too much. You might as well just watch it on telly.
Yeah, well,
is what a lot of people did.
It depends. I remember also going on a coach, but it was an express one, and that was perhaps better. Going on an National Express one, where it didn't stop. If it doesn't stop, you're all right. You get down on motorway, and it's much better, I think, that way. But if it's one of those that stop, oh God, what a nightmare! Stopping at every town and every place.
Did the Flintstones operate a coach country? A coach company. I mean, all that. It must hurt their feet.
Yes. To answer the question, then, for me, yes, I would love to have gone to Live Aid. I mean, it's such a historical moment in my lifetime. I mean, you could say Isle of Wight is, but I was 10-year-old, so I was too young.
It's an easy thing to answer, isn't it? Because look, if you love 80s music, Live Aid is slap bang into the middle of the 80s.
Yeah.
And it had every band and every superstar.
Yeah, it did. Everybody.
The world playing on that stage.
And it probably had artists that used to crikey, did they play that? Like say something like awful, like the Thompson Twins or something. You'd be going, what? Did they play that? Because they were the thing at the time. Oh, yeah. It's a good look at some of the artists as well as the old established ones, and look at like Queen. Queen were in decline. Without Live Aid, would Queen have revived?
Yeah, that kept them going for about another 7 or 8 years, didn't it?
It revived their career totally. It really did. They were in danger of just disappearing. Queen were. Yeah. But yes, it was a massive event because the American bit added to it. The fact that they'd got the American
from Philadelphia, side going,
it made it a world event. So that kind of elevated it.
Even I know that. What's his Geldof? From Boomtown Rats. He turned around and said, "Yeah, it was wrong of us, really, when you consider the plight of the planet, putting Phil Collins on a Concorde to fly over."
Yeah.
The amount of pollution he splurted into the air to do that bloody thing. And there he is trying to save the planet.
Yeah, they didn't worry about that as much then, but now they'll be making a big thing about it. They wouldn't have done it nowadays.
Yeah,
you'd have got somebody like being trendy, like Coldplay or something, saying, "Oh no, we can't go on that airplane. We can't do that." But then nobody just got on with it and did it.
Yeah. Anyway, we've talked about Live Aid now.
Coldplay I mentioned. I didn't mention them. The Who Isle of Wight concert. Yep, you've definitely. Who would you say is the best double act of all time on television?
Morecambe and Wise, I think. Really.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
As much as I love Cannon and Ball.
I don't think there's anybody else as good as Morecambe and Wise in that sense.
I mean, Cannon and Ball were great. I never really got into Little and Large. All that.
No, they were just a more pale imitation.
You have got the two Ronnies. I mean,
yeah,
there is an argument about that, but they never went on stage really much.
No,
I mean,
I never saw two Ronnies like that.
People knew when Morecambe and Wise were on television, even at Christmas, that they went through vaudeville and the war and going
exactly.
on
They were
stage.
more traditional, old-fashioned kind of act, weren't they?
Well, like I said,
Yeah,
even I knew that they sharpened their teeth in
yeah,
a lot of dives before they turned
yeah,
gold. You know what I mean? Even
yeah,
I knew that.
yeah,
But and Ronnie Barker, and as much as I love him and I've met him
yeah,
and all of that sort of stuff, when it comes to the two Ronnies, they never really went on stage. They did a stage thing over in Australia, I think. They went on
yeah,
tour, did some things on stage. They did some sketches, as well as do their two Ronnie
yeah,
TV series over there. So they made some money there. But Cannon and Ball again is another one where they went on opportunity knocks. They did all the northern pubs and
yeah,
clubs. But they were around for 15 years before they got a 9-year contract with London
yeah,
Weekend Television. You got to understand that. I think a little bit like Elton John, that there's too many fabricated bands that are given fame too early. They didn't go to the bars, they didn't go to the clubs, they didn't get booed at, all of this sort of stuff. All they've ever known is adulation.
yeah,
You've got to work your way up. David
yeah,
Bowie and all that. They
yeah,
were buskers on the bloody underground before they got
yeah,
discovered by
yeah,
Long John Baldry
yeah.
and all of that sort of stuff. This is where I don't think fame should be thrust upon anyone. I think
No,
you've got to learn. You've got to earn it.
yeah,
It's too easy now to create yourself a YouTube channel, start playing the guitar, get it banded about, put in a demo tape, send it off somewhere, all of this sort of stuff. It's like, Christ, you had to be
yeah,
able to write down your own music on staves in the
yeah,
60s before you could even get a look in.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, things have changed such a lot
Yeah,
nowadays.
I, I,
Everything.
I must admit, I'm a 50. I'm in my 50s. I'm a right old fuddy duddy,
Yeah,
and I do have old, antiquated
yeah,
values. I just know that that's why I love Cannon and Ball,
yeah,
or Morecambe and Wise, because I know the struggles that they went through to get to it.
yeah. I remember seeing Ronnie Corbett when we went to Blackpool because he used to get them doing Blackpool gigs. We
Yeah,
went to Blackpool for a week, and his act was just the same as he was on the TV on it when he was
monologues.
sat down on the chair telling one of
Yeah,
those stories.
monologues.
Yeah, that which he's absolutely superb at. It's
Apparently,
absolutely
he's a
superb.
very, very good after dinner speaker. He was.
Yeah, I can imagine. He was. Um, I remember. It's funny. I do just remember him. I wouldn't have been that old, but I do remember him, and he kept everybody entertained so much. And he must have done that routine. You can imagine. I think there was 2 shows. He probably did it 6 days a week, the same show. I mean, they got probably well paid at it, but can you imagine doing that every night and trying to stay fresh? And he was good. He was a real professional.
It wouldn't surprise me where he did a monologue every week, and so if you went on the Friday and then went the
Yeah,
following Friday, it'd be a different monologue.
yeah. It was
Wouldn't
so
surprise me.
professional and wonderful. I mean, the fact he was like that was amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, they were well paid for that, but you know why they did the summer season. They don't have them nowadays, do they?
No.
And well, apart from that, probably, but I don't think even he is that Roy Chubby Brown. I think he does Blackpool a bit.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, he does.
but
Well, he did. He did.
yeah, but it's not like in those days. They used to do performance every night. They'd do them in summer period. And of course, my favourite or not, Ken Dodd. Oh God, he was doing them.
You carry on, Ian. It's just my mum just wants me. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I do remember. I say going with my mum and dad, and I was a kid to Blackpool. And
Forgotten some
they used to
already.
go. Sorry, you all right?
I forgot some. It's all right.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, they used to go to. There was the North Pier. I think they had a theatre on, and they had one I think got Central Pier as well. And then there was the Grand Theatre. There'd be about 3 venues, and you'd have these artists. Because I remember we actually went to see Dad's Army perform on stage, and it was some of the real cast. I think it probably was Ian Lavender. I don't think. I'm trying to think. It wasn't all the full cast, but it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. There was probably only maybe 3. Oh yeah, probably Clive Dunn. Yeah, he would have been there. There probably maybe was only maybe about 3 original cast or so on there, but it was entertaining. But I say they do these for a summer season. But there were all the old sort of classic ones like Les Dawson as well. You get Les Dawson. I say Ronnie Corbett. The 2 Ronnies, as far as I know, never. Mind you, probably went out. They took me. 2 Ronnies probably weren't together. I know who was also did them. Eric Sykes. Yeah. Now Eric Sykes, I remember doing these shows as well. And he was good because again, that was somebody who was able to do like a performance of their things with Atty Jakes. I don't remember Atty Jakes. They could have been Atty Jakes. I'm trying to remember. I think they even was. Yes, I'm sure there was a Bless This House with Sid James. I've got a feeling we might have gone to see that. Yeah. It obviously was a thing where if there was a TV spin-off like they did with the films, that they cobbled together something. They probably didn't get all the cast, but they'd do a TV show on these summer seasons. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm going on too much. Let's see what else we've got here. David says Chuckle Brothers. Yeah. Yes, the unforgettable Chuckle Brothers. Jim Demuzi says, Ian, did you like the specials? Terry Hall gone too soon. Yeah, Terry Hall, Fun Boy 3. Yeah, I've got a story about the specials. I went to see the Clash at Leeds Queen's Hall, and on the bill below them was the Coventry Automatics. The Coventry Automatics were, of course, the specials. They were amazing, absolutely amazing. I said we saw them; they were at the bottom of the bill, and then of course it took off, and then they went back, sort of retro in a way, and they all went on tour together. So you get the specials, Selector, Madness. They all do a bill together, and it timed with when I was at university, so they did the tour, and we'd go and see one of these two-tone tours. But two-tone really didn't last that long. I think within 2 years it had probably burnt itself out. It didn't really last that long. But yeah, Terry Hall was very talented, and as I said, Fun Boy 3, they were very successful as well as a follow-on from that. Yeah. Anything to say about the specials and Terry Hall?
Oh, I liked the 20th anniversary of Doctor Who, the 10th anniversary of Doctor Who. They were all specials, weren't they?
Oh dear, the old jokes. Oh, sorry, there he is. Yeah.
I mean, as a band, yeah, of course, I like the specials.
Yeah.
I wasn't, I was during that period. I was more. People were more in my class were more listening to Adamant and all of that sort of stuff. Really. My sister was into Blondie.
Oh well, why not? Yeah.
And she was listening to all of that. And so there was the odd specials track, that obviously you'd go, oh yeah, I like this sound and all of this sort of stuff. but I never actually. I don't think I ever bought the Specials album.
No,
You know
I
what I
would.
mean?
No,
I'd know about it, and I'll tell you
yeah,
what was the biggest thing for me that was different to people that were in the 70s is that they started to produce albums a little bit like the Now That's What I Call range. They did things like chart hits,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it would be a double album, right? Of
Before the now things, yeah,
yeah, which would have 20
yeah,
tracks on album one and 20
yeah,
tracks on album two, and then
yeah,
have things like Toya Wilcox and all of this sort
yeah,
of stuff on it. And obviously, the specials would turn up, and that's how you knew about new
yeah.
music. You'd go,
I mean,
oh,
yeah.
and then I'd have never have bought that, and I didn't know it was out or
The
whatever. So,
specials and all that sort of two-tone things, though they did release albums, they were I never saw them as they weren't an album band. They were
yeah,
bands that produced singles.
I stayed
Um,
away. I stayed away from bad manners because
oh, I didn't like them. I couldn't
well, no,
stand
it was
them.
the
Yeah.
reason for it was is that I was a hefty sort of person going up to
Oh,
secondary
yeah.
school, and Buster Blood Vessel was a big fat bloke
Yeah,
that
it
you go,
was. Yeah.
oh, you're Buster Blood Vessel, blah blah blah.
Yeah. I can imagine bullies would have come out.
You're
Yeah.
Roland from Grange Hill, all of this sort of
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Anything that they could find that was fat, they'd
Yeah.
go like
I
this at.
think.
So of
Yeah.
course I'd go, oh, I love madness, but I don't like bad manners and all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And I liked ska music, but it was just that there was too much of that going on for me to sort of like
Yeah.
go, I could go whole hog
Yeah.
into it. And I never wore things like trilby hats and
No, I never.
jackets that were
I was too
two-tone
busy punk
and
side.
a tie that was black and white. Or
Yeah. No,
piano.
I would never have done that. No, not for me.
So
Um.
yeah,
It,
it's a time. It's a time where I look back and I go, "Oh yeah,
yeah.
class," and it's also a
Yeah.
time I look back and go, "Oh yeah, but I was bullied a lot, and it was yeah."
Yeah. Which is not a good thing to remember. But it had burnt itself out about within 2 years. It wasn't something that carried on.
No, it was mostly
It
reggae, wasn't it? Wasn't its legacy in reggae?
well, reggae was going on at the same time with Bob Marley. Don't forget, Bob Marley was on the rise in late 70s. So
I'm
Bob
just thinking
Marley
of
was the one
most of the London beat, that beat that's in the background of all of these songs had a
yeah,
Rastafarian background or something.
yeah.
Reggae.
I think, yeah, because I think one of the things was that ska was important because it was like a counterpoint at that time to with skinheads. It was often because skinheads were associated at the time with a lot
That's
of
it. Buster Blood
racist
Vessel had a skinhead.
National Front stuff. You know, all this right wing, extreme right wing racist stuff. The ska was seen as something because the original skinheads were not racist. They loved reggae music and of course into ska as well. So that's why that was, I think, promoted quite a lot, and a lot of people went onto that at the time, as I remember. And because they were doing all these gigs like Rock Against Racism, and that all developed at that sort of time as well. It latched into skinhead movement. Skinheads were frightening. I remember seeing them. God, skinheads, absolutely terrifying.
Yeah,
They
like
used
I
to
said,
come up,
the way I
especially.
meant the reason I mentioned
Yeah,
reggae was if you think of the track just by itself, "Lip Up Fatty," it's reggae.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it
Lip
is.
up fatty, lip
Yeah,
up fatty, reggae, na 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 na
yeah,
na. It's reggae,
yeah,
and that's how I remember. That's how I know its legacy, where it comes from, and all of that. Now I
yeah,
remember it, and I go, "Oh right."
yeah.
I was never really into reggae.
No, no. Well, all I can say, the reggae for me is Bob Marley. I thought Bob Marley, very talented, wrote some great songs, but that's about it. I never went more into reggae, to be honest. I never got into, there's a lot of reggae artists. The more heavier,
I bow to your musical knowledge before
yeah.
we move on, because I thought Bob Marley was a brewer who made lager and
Oh,
beer and that.
oh dear.
You know,
Oh no. Anyhow, Cannonball was class. I thought he was going to say. I thought he said, "Oh, we're closed." I thought, "Huh? Hey, what do you mean they were closed?" No, class. I think he's saying.
9 years of their own TV show. My God.
Yeah. Jim Jam, I can't decide between Morecambe and Wise and the two Ronnies. I think that's fair enough.
That's what I said. We mentioned those as the three probably biggest that you'd choose.
Yeah. Thoughts on Bernard Manning?
Fat bastard.
Yeah, I think
he's a racist.
Yeah, you've just put it down. He thought he was funny. He was one of these comedians who actually thought and deliberately wanted people to think he was, how he was.
I'd rather listen to jokes from the bloke that rung the bell in the Wheel Tappers and Shunters Club than Bernard Manning, who owned the club itself.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, when he was on TV, he had to tone down his act. He didn't do his awful stuff that he did.
I only ever saw him in the Comedians, really.
Yeah, yeah.
He was on late at night on the Wheel Tappers and Shunters Club.
Yeah.
He was in the 70s show, The Comedians, that was on about 7:30, 8 o'clock.
That's right, and they obviously didn't do any.
There was nothing really in between. He didn't exactly go on the London Palladium, did he?
No. Well, he wouldn't have been invited, would he?
Imagine that standing up there going, "This is Irishman, Englishman, and Scotsman."
Yeah, that's all his jokes.
You can imagine that on the London Palladium.
Yeah. Steve, both classics. Yeah. The closest thing to a current sitcom for me is Only Murders in the Building with Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. I really enjoy it. I've seen that advertised, but I've never watched it.
No, it's brilliant.
A lot of people rate it quite highly.
It's brilliant, but when the question is asked to me, sitcom, I think of British sitcoms.
Yeah,
I'm not really. You see, I don't really watch American sitcoms. I mean, I could turn around and say, well, on Paramount Plus, they're showing season 2 of Frasier, and Frasier is a classic comedic sitcom. I know sitcoms still go on in America. There's tons of them. It's just that this country has just forgone them into nothingness.
Yeah.
Only Murders in the Building. Only Murders in the Building is brilliant.
Yes. Oh, you've seen it.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. Stephen Moles. I see the Exorcist 2 special edition.
Are
sold out everywhere, but sets like The Butcher are still in stock. Weird. God, you're saying that. Looks like Arrow didn't do enough copies because it sold out. It sold out on release.
Yeah, well, I got an answer for that. Exorcist 2, bloody hell, they probably only made 10 copies. They've sold all 10, I think.
I bet. This is what my theory. Well, I don't think it is a theory. I think it's truth. The collection people who collect things have to have whatever is released.
Oh, of course.
And even if they don't like this crap, they'll still have it in their collection. Work that one out. I don't understand it. Even if you're a collector, why would you have something in your collection that you don't like?
Shut your face. Why? You know that
I never get an answer properly. Have you got this special edition then of Exorcist?
That's not a steelbook.
There you are. But
saying that, you know full well that I've bought no end of different series, like IPs of stuff, and I've basically bought the lot. And you've gone, what? You bought that? Why? And I've gone, because I can't have a gap in the shelf. I can't. I've got to have them all.
It's very. I don't know. I don't understand it, but there you are.
But Exorcist 2, there are some die-hard horror people that we all know, don't we, Ian?
Yeah.
That even now we're turning around and saying, I don't care what it is, I won't be buying that.
Yeah, there are people who will buy anything normally. Won't buy that. It's one of those releases.
There's some real hardcore people that we all know.
Yeah.
That have actually turned around and said, even I'm not that diehard that I'll be buying that. But like you say, there are people out there that will just...
There are people who'd still rather buy Cannibal Holocaust than that. They think Cannibal Holocaust is a better film than Exorcist 2. It may well be, but I wouldn't have a Cannibal Holocaust in my collection. But there you are.
The only people I know that buy Cannibal Holocaust are the people that are really, really into video nasties.
Yeah.
Or it's a one-off piece to show that type of film was being made. So if you have a whole set of stuff and people turn around and went into your, say, museum of film, say I called it a museum of film, and then say, where's the section where it's video nasties? Oh, I've got one over there, just as an example. That's an example of a video nasty.
I bet you that these people would even have, and I have to admit, I bought it and got rid of it straight away. The Serbian movie. It is something that nobody wants to see. I got rid of it. I went to CEX and quickly got rid of it. God, don't know why I bought it. And that is a cut version. It's something you just don't want in your collection. It feels like you feel dirty having it there. You just want rid of it. Horrible. It's disgusting. And you don't say that about many films. That's one of the few films, probably Pink Flamingos. I mean, who would have pink flamingos in their collection as well? That's the controversial one. Who would have that? I do know some people who mention it on these things have got it.
We all know someone, don't we?
Yeah, but who would actually have that? It's disgusting. I mean, you can't just. Who remembers Shoestring? Eddie Shoestring. I didn't watch it, but I do remember the series. I never watched it though, and I know it's out on network. I would presume as one of their last series. There is Delboy's version of Shoestring.
Yeah, look, I remember Shoestring. It's on my shoe. Look, there we go. I mean, I can remember it.
What
it's just right there.
What do you do?
You mean Trevor Eve?
Yes. Yeah. I think it was probably one of later network releases as well.
It was on BBC.
Yeah.
But it was a network release, I think. But it's BBC production. 2 seasons, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
And he got that gig, if I remember rightly, as well, straight off of doing a Dracula film.
Really? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that big production of Dracula that ended up with a shipwreck off of the coast, and it had a John Williams score.
Oh,
nobody really talks about anymore.
I bet that was the Whitby one. Well, that's where it's supposed to be. It's the same.
It's on the coast.
Yeah. Which one is that?
It's just called Dracula, and it's 1970. Dead on 19.
Is it?
Sorry, dead on 1980. Sorry.
Yeah. I have heard people mention it. I'm trying to think who's on it.
I've got it. I've got it on Blu-ray, but I can't remember. I can't remember. I know Trevor Ede. That's why I was saying I know Trevor Ede is in it.
Yeah.
And I know that John Williams did the score.
Oh. All right. Okay. Stephen Mole says Hitcher. All right. Great film. I haven't got the box.
Yeah, I think it's a continuation of something where he was talking about that two-disc special edition of Exorcist.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I think that's where that comes from.
Yeah. Tony Hawk says Bernard Manning, very much of his time, typified the 70s. Must seem like an alien to today's youth. Not that they'll have heard of him. No.
Well, like I said, I think he typified the 60s, went on into the 70s.
Yeah.
And died a death at the end of it.
Yeah.
Because anybody that talks about him in the 90s and that is, he was chucked out of comedy really before Terry and June ran out their ideas on BBC TV, and they were still doing stuff in 1984.
Yeah. He was probably one of the targets of the so-called alternative comedians who came out in that period. He would have been a target definitely. This is interesting. David says The Exorcist 2 is decent. It's not that bad. Well, that's good that you have somebody who likes.
David, can you explain the story to me? Because after 20 odd years, I still don't know what the fuck's going on in that film.
No, and he's got Richard Burton in. I mean, why?
That's what I mean. I was so disappointed. It's got Richard Burton in it. And I'm going, what the hell? Richard, can you tell me the story, please, Richard?
He probably was too drunk.
I have no idea what the hell's going on.
He would have been pissed. He wouldn't have known what was going on.
I've watched that film. I must admit, it's one of the films that I've only watched, I think, 3 times.
You've actually watched it all the way through.
Yeah, wow. and I really, really just still don't know what's going on in that film.
Wow. Yeah.
Call me thick if you want. I just don't.
Yeah. No. Ian, have you seen Alien Romulus? Not very good. Oh, that's interesting. I've not seen it, but I know somebody who has. Delboy. I think your opinion was better.
I said I was happy that it didn't stink.
Yeah.
I don't think it was that bad. I wouldn't say that it was great. I would say it was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the majority of people that came out said it was a okay or good film. It's just it weren't a great one, and it certainly isn't in the league of the early ones. And some people absolutely are disgusted and hate it. So there are always those people though. Certain films that people absolutely love, and I just go, you are.
Yeah.
What did you see? I watched that film. It's bloody awful.
Yeah. But we were on about it before. Look at the Terrifier films. People absolutely love those Terrifier films, and we just didn't
made
like
a third film off of the back of that. God knows where it came from.
Awful. They were awful. But it's all a matter of taste. You know,
honestly, I'd rather wipe my ass on sandpaper than bloody watch that again.
Yeah, it really was bad, Terrifier. Yeah, but I know it's got a lot of people who love it. You just go on YouTube and you see the amount of people going mad about Terrifier 3 and praising it all. And Chairman Alf in the 90s, surprised this got broadcast as a show in the 90s. Oh, is that the Alf Garnett?
Yeah, and I tell you what, I'm not surprised it got broadcast in the 90s because by then, Alf Garnett was known.
Yeah,
it's like, because I could turn around and say, I'm surprised that what's that other comedian that does the pub thing? You know, he's sort of like, the pub landlord thing.
I don't know his name, but I just know him as the pub landlord.
You know who I'm talking about. Because he's always he's up there on the stage turning around and saying, the English, we go back the American, you know, the Americans, you haven't got a brain cell between yourselves. Like right? Now, at the end of the day, that's taking the piss out of all continents and all countries and every level of life and all of that sort of stuff. And how the British are everything and all of this sort of stuff. So Alf Garnett, he was a big, and he would actually talk about color and race and all of that sort of stuff. But they would have marketed that on TV as, you know, take this with a pinch of salt type thing. It was like, it's almost like an audience with Alf Garnett. You know what I mean?
All right.
Where everybody in the audience knew what was to expect.
It sounds like it was more a political satire kind of program.
You'd have gotten away with it because not all the expressions are that this person is talking about are what the BBC or the ITV condone as best practice type thing.
Yeah.
What's his name? It's Al something or other, this bloke that I was thinking about.
I know you mean. Yeah.
It'll come to me by the end of the show, and somebody would have bound sure.
The pub landlord, I know you mean. Yeah. Might as well call it the Jim Jam Show taking over the comment section, Stephen.
No, not at all.
No. Ian, what do you think of the new Napoleon movie? I'd love to see it. I'm looking forward to actually watching as Delboy says, a proper extended version, because it's a sort of film that's historical. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fantastic. I love it, even though it flopped. I think absolutely flopped. And you went to see it, didn't you, at the cinema?
No point asking me. He's asked you, look, Ian.
Yeah,
What
but
did you think of
I'm
the
just
new
bringing you
Napoleon
into the
movie?
conversation.
It's totally the Ian show for David. Look, I'm not considered anything in this bloody thing. No, he's not mentioned me once. Yeah,
Oh,
the
dear.
Napoleon movie, I loved it. But then again, I'm a Ridley Scott fan, so I'm always going to turn around and say nice things about it. But there are things where I've not gotten on with Ridley Scott. Don't get me wrong. Napoleon works best as the extended edition. That's all I've got to say. If you saw it at the pictures and you liked it, you're going to go ape shit for the extended one. If you saw the short one and you didn't like it, I'd turn around and say, I would think that the extended one is not going to change your mind, but equally it could, because it makes more sense.
Yeah. Is it Joaquin Phoenix playing Napoleon?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. He's a good actor. He can do all sorts.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be good in that role.
I loved it. I loved Napoleon. I thought it was a brilliant film.
That's good. Danny says, "Cy Robson, hi mate." Tony says, "David, is that the one with Joaquin Phoenix?" Yeah, I've heard it's not too good. I have a few not too well known films about Napoleon. I only think of Waterloo with Rod Steiger.
Well, you know that I bought that, didn't I, from that charity shop, didn't I?
Yeah, it's a good film. Yeah, I've got that special edition.
That same one as me, hasn't it? The hardback.
That's right. It's nice. Yeah, it's a reprint of that original book, which I've got the original one, which because I went to see it at the cinema and I loved it.
Napoleon got mixed reviews.
Yeah.
So where it says I've heard it's not too good.
Yeah.
It got mixed reviews, but that's because some people were coming out saying this is not historically accurate.
No, they not to forget that
they missed the point in the fact that Ridley Scott said himself it's not bloody.
You're never going to get that. This is what annoys me. Films are never going to be historically right, as I've talked about before with English Civil War period. But you take them as they are. You just enjoy the film, and they have aspects of that are based on often the reality. But it's a film. I always look at it like that. That's how we should take it. We shouldn't be sitting there nitpicking, going, "Oh, it's not right here, not right there." Just enjoy the film, you're never going to please anybody anyhow with these films, if they're sort of historical figures. There'll always be somebody saying, "Oh, well, no, that's wrong." You're always going to get that. It's how it is. But from Joaquin Phoenix, he's such a great actor. He can turn his hand to anything, I think. Seymour says, 2 good soundtracks worth buying, Ian and Delboy. The Lost Boys and The Crow, 1994.
Well, I look at both of those as being band music.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't like The Crow as a film.
Yeah. I don't remember them being music scores by, as in an orchestra or...
Yeah. All I remember about The Crow, even though I saw it probably in the last 6 months,
I know the Lost Boys. I think the Lost Boys sold incredibly well when it came out.
Yeah.
I think the
Lost Boys is a much better film.
I think the Crow sold incredibly well to certain type of people.
Yeah.
Because it's what I call sort of like new age music. It's like
I honestly think the Crow has the thing around it because of what happened to Brandon Lee and it being Brandon Lee. If that wasn't there, it wouldn't be seen in the same.
Would you say that's the same though about music? Because I wouldn't say the music sold because Brandon Lee got shot in it. The film, but not the soundtrack.
I don't know. I don't know enough about soundtracks.
The soundtrack to me is sort of like that goth sort of like rock type music that I I'm not really into.
Yeah.
The Lost Boys was bands that, you know, basically if you liked sort of like certain types of music, like, you know, like even pop music, you probably would like the Lost Boys soundtrack because
Yeah.
it's got things like the Smiths or something on it, you know, or
Yeah.
whatever. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that's who's on it.
Yeah. I just thought it'd be more
I
gothic,
remember the
but
Lost Boys sold millions.
yeah.
But to me, I buy a soundtrack like John Carpenter's The Fog, and it's by John Carpenter and Howarth, you know, or
Yeah.
I'll buy a Jerry Goldsmith score or whatever, and you won't find that as the Lost Boys
Yeah.
or the Crow. I think you might do now because they probably found the score music that was composed for it. But back then, the Lost Boys would have been a band, you know, just mute. You might as well be a compilation album.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I've never been into compilation albums of film music.
Oh, right.
Well, no, do you know what I'm trying to say? Forrest Gump, right, is a double album, right? Double album, but it's full of tracks by Fleetwood Mac and all of this sort of stuff,
Yeah.
right? And on the second CD, in the last 18 minutes, there is the score to it.
Yeah.
Right, 18 minutes. The whole rest of the
Yeah.
album is just music that you could get on. Now that's what I call music, whatever it is.
But
Right?
I wonder if they thought it would appeal to people who like the songs.
Well, that's what I mean.
Maybe, yeah, rather than
this is what I'm trying to say. This is what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say. A month
Yeah.
later, after that double album came out, they brought out the score to the Forrest Gump by Alan
Yeah.
Silvestri, which had 22 or so tracks, and it was on the Verasa Saraband label. And that's to appease the people to say, "Oh, you wanted the music from it? Here you go. Look, here's the score."
Yeah.
Right? But they brought out the double album first.
Mm.
And like I say, Lost Boys, it might have been a decade before you saw the score because it was all about the band music that was in it.
Well, it would be, yeah.
What the actors had in their Walkmans and all of this sort of stuff.
Yes,
you know, all that
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
shit.
David says, yes, Tony, it's the new one with Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, Napoleon. I heard the BBC Napoleon is the best. Now, BBC Napoleon, I can't remember that.
It wasn't that a 70s dramatization thing.
I remember War and Peace, which had Anthony Hopkins in and some great actors. And Napoleon possibly would have been in that, but I can't remember. Can't remember if he was, but I enjoyed the series War and Peace. It's one I did watch. But I don't remember the BBC doing one on their own, on his own. That would be fascinating. Yeah. Tony says Eagle in a Cage and Monsieur in 2003, detailing his imprisonment on Saint Helena. Oh yeah, that's Napoleon. And The Emperor's New Clothes 2001 is what if he'd escaped exile and made his way back to France? Oh yeah. Well, he did actually escape on his first exile. That's why we got the Battle of Waterloo.
And that's why he did Waterloo. That was right.
That's it. Waterloo is after he'd been defeated, and he I think it's something like 100 days or something about he escapes, rallies the troops, and meets Wellington, and that's it. Then once he's gone to Saint Elba, is it? I think that's it. No, it's Saint Helena. I think there's Elba as well. I'm sure there is.
Didn't they when he next went back to prison?
Yeah.
Didn't they starve him? He got poisoned. He was very unwell anyway, and then they chopped his head off. That was the end of that.
As far as I know, they probably he was in exile. He wasn't treated that well. He He didn't last that long, did he? I don't think.
No, I think he was a very sick person by then. He wasn't very well.
It was,
something to do with being in the rain for a lot of time. Yeah.
This is one of
Pneumonia
those terrible things where you know something and wish you didn't. I remember, did you know sort of thing. I know that his penis was in a pickle jar or something. They cut it off and put it in a thing, and oh dear, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah. All I know is really what I think that's even covered in the Waterloo DVD that we've got.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The thing is, when Waterloo, the film, it starts with the king has returned, Napoleon's in exile, and the Allies, as they were known, have imposed a king in France, another Louis. They're always Louis, the kings, and it doesn't last long. Napoleon comes, and then Napoleon goes, and then they carry on again, for another 100 years or so. Well, no, it's probably a bit less than that. Yeah. And they get an emperor again with Napoleon the First. Yeah, they have an emperor, 1870, called around that time Napoleon the First, I think. Or is it third? Could be Napoleon the Third. But they still have this idea of having like an emperor until the First World War brings about all the change, and then they get rid of all that.
Yeah.
They get a proper republic. Yeah.
I still say my favorite is chocolate. I mean, the strawberry and the vanilla's all right.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's Neapolitan, isn't it? Anyway,
oh dear, yeah, Neapolitan. God. Ross says, "Hello, Ian Delboy. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Ross, for joining. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ross. Yeah.
And Frank Alder says, Southerners are unfriendly, mean, and spiteful. I worked down in London for 21 years. Awful. You said it.
Are you going to call me a Southerner now, or what?
I think he said it all. Frank knows his stuff there.
No, so am I mean and spiteful? And I'm just asking you, right? Because I mean, it's got there, look, Southerner, and you've called me a Southerner in the past. It's got unfriendly.
I'm saying no, as we say there. I'm just.
Would you say no? Would you say I was mean?
No, I wouldn't say you were mean. No, you've never been mean. That's one thing. That's one of your qualities. You're not mean, lad.
Am I unfriendly?
No, I wouldn't say you're unfriendly. I wouldn't say you're unfriendly.
Spiteful? Yeah, maybe, because I call you another northern bastard, then I say. Yeah.
Yeah. Tony says most spectacular has to be Waterloo. Yeah, here we are, 1970. I think they used the Russian army as extras for the battle scenes. That's spot on. They did, yeah. Brilliant battle scenes.
Of extras, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely wonderful battle scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just watching Lost in Space episodes. I love it. Which season? I wonder. Black and white.
I'm not talking to him. Apparently, I'm mean spirited. All that
He's still going on about it. You've said it now.
I don't recognise Ross anymore. Only joking.
Lost in Space, great series. Yeah, even if it did get silly.
Yeah,
carrots.
Big carrots, and that.
Yeah. It's Buddy Song, 90s. That's born in the 70s gaming. It's Buddy Song. What's that in connection with?
Don't know.
90s.
I really don't know.
It's Buddy Song. I don't know. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm sorry. I don't know. Tony, with regard Roger Daltrey as a teddy boy, looks as though it could be Buddy's song, 1991. Well, that's much later.
Oh,
Ooh,
okay.
it's later, isn't it, than we...
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Seems again, we have the work on DVD, complete set. Episode 1 was great, but it does, I presume, go downhill after that. We stopped watching them after only 3 or 4 discs. A disappointment. You know what I'm thinking? Bloody hell. I'd get them sold quickly if you're not going to watch them again. It's that bad.
Oh, stop it.
But, yeah, I think it reflects how I remember it. I just didn't get on with it. I didn't like him.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Then again, you didn't like what's his face with the puppets, Ken Dodd.
Yeah, what's his face? I know Ken Dodd. I know I shouldn't say because he was very popular, extremely popular. A lot of people liked him, but
yeah, but the Diddy Men scared you. See, the Diddy Men. Diddy Men scared you, didn't he?
Yeah, well, yeah. I was they scarred me, and he did with his teeth and hair. Oh God, scarred I was. Almost as bad as Pinky and Perky.
What's wrong with Pinky and
Perky? Anybody don't know Pinky and Perky, look them up and you'll see. You might even get a wonderful
if you look them up, you won't know any the wiser. Listen to them, you'll know.
You listen to it. I'm sure. I bet YouTube have somewhere Pinky and Perky.
I mean, if you look at them, you're not going to understand the word that you were talking about. If you go and listen to them,
but it might lead you to a link, and when you can see them actually. Anyhow, there we are. Just a suggestion. David says Waterloo 1970 didn't do well at the box office. It's a great movie.
That's true.
Yeah, it is a fantastic movie.
It's one of those classics that's now considered a classic after the fact.
But at the time, no. David says Buddy's song, the movie, was Chesney Hawkes. I am the one and only. Oh, crikey. Not him again.
See, all you got to do is mention the title of that track, and you'll have it in your head for the next 5 hours.
No, I'd rather not. It's not my era at all. That I totally disown anything with that. I don't think I've even got it. Fortunately, I don't think it's even on any compilations I've got. Thank heavens. I've got some.
I'll tell you what, you've done incredibly well if you haven't got one version of it on any CD.
I think I have been lucky, really lucky.
Because that's been on I don't know how many CDs.
I've got some 80s. I'm mainly more 70s compilations I've got, but I have got some 80s. But as far as I know, it's not on that one. I've obviously not bought the right one yet to get that on.
Yeah.
Danny Dukes, hi matey, says Sigh, and says, who remembers Garth Mangard? Can you say Megan? I do remember them. Merengue's Dark Place. Merengue's Dark Place. I honestly think that it's an underrated classic. It was a Channel 4 thing. I don't really watch it, but I know it had a lot of people who have said afterwards how much they liked it. That it was sort of a cult. I
can honestly put my hand up and say I don't know what you're talking about. So you carry on talking.
Yeah, but that's all I'm saying. It's a name I do remember. I
don't recognise the name.
Yeah.
No.
Well, watch George Cole in a good early comedy this week. The Green Man,
yeah.
With Alistair Sim and Terry Thomas. He was great in Flash Harriet in the St. Trinian's films. There we are, St. Trinian's films. Fantastic.
Yeah. So do I win a coconut or a DVD? Getting that right earlier on, Tony. I'm sitting here without a DVD in my bloody house. You know what I mean?
David says, Del, do you remember George Cole series, Route into Europe? Very funny.
I've heard of that, but no, I don't remember it. I know that George Cole did a number of things after Minder and around Minder, and like I said, I remember right now, I can see it physically. The Leeds Building Society adverts, and all of that, where he sort of rhymed some things about going to the races and all of this sort of stuff, and how to save your money for the Leeds Building Society. I remember all of that sort of stuff. Route into Europe, it rings a bell, but I can't really picture it like I can most things. So I'm just going to turn around and say I've heard of that. I can't remember anything about it though.
All right. Okay.
I'm going to look that up though.
Yeah.
Wonder why that is.
Route into Europe. I've never heard of that at all.
No, I have, but I can't quite picture it.
Is this what? It doesn't say what year.
No, none of these do. But that's the big. That's the big challenge, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. Let's have a look. Oh, hello there. Yeah, she's watching from the Philippines. Hello, nice that you've joined us. Thank you. You take care. Danny says, Ian, seeing old films is like seeing it for the first time for you. Yeah.
Is it there?
Yes. You're at it.
Absolutely crap. Ian, seeing old films is like seeing it for the 100th millionth time, isn't it, for you? Yeah, it's about right.
Yeah. I love old films as well. You can't beat
he was there the first time they were out. That's why I like them.
But I like all films, as you see. I'm still enthusiastic about films. Definitely.
He's enthusiastic about silent films.
Well, yeah, some of them I might be. Those Laurel and Hardy ones.
All of them.
Good.
You were there.
Yeah,
you were in them.
Yeah.
He was every sailor in every bloody sea film in the 1920s.
Yeah. Now, here we are. There's a question for Delboy from David. Del, did you like the new Omen movie? He's probably got it and hasn't watched it.
No, I've watched it. I told you I watched it. I watched it a week after I got it. I told you, I said that I was surprised in the fact.
I do remember,
I liked it. I mean, I thought that because I can't think of anybody but Patrick Troughton playing that priest. How good it was. The performances were some outstanding performances in that film. It surprised me.
It's funny because everybody I think was sort of very skeptical about this film, was sort of kind of dreading it, but I've not heard anybody say a bad thing about it. It's all been positive, which is good.
It's that fear of missing out where Muckman Movies went out and bought it that I went, I can't miss out. If he's bought it, I've got to buy it. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
If he's bought it, there's probably only one left on the shelf. I think I better get it. I mean? Like that with me. I went,
but it's doing what a lot of positive feedback on that film. So that's good. That's really good. Charles Duncan says, guys, I found the movie when Roger is dressed anyway still as a teddy boy. It's called Buddy's Song, which was the 1991. Also signed Chesley Hawkes. Yeah, so there we are. We'll remember that, or perhaps not want to remember.
We're never going to forget now, are we?
Del used to be a teddy boy.
I'll tell you what, my dad was. My dad was.
You see, there you are.
He wore those big sort of like suit
you can see him, can't you, doing that? Yeah, hair quiffed up.
Oh, he did. He had his hair.
Yeah. And then going around teddy boy like this. Yeah, you can see it, can't you? Yeah.
I can see my dad that way. Yeah.
And
I'll tell
Bob
you what,
Hart,
though.
hello. Just
In
popping
the
in to say
80s,
hello.
I'll tell you what, though. In the 80s,
Yeah.
early 80s, my dad wore nothing but donkey jackets.
Oh God.
You
Yeah.
remember the old donkey jacket that you got
Yeah, I
if you worked
do.
in a
I do. I
factory?
remember seeing them. Yeah. They
And
were hard wearing jackets.
he didn't buy shoes for 10 years because he got them from factory. He got toe tectors.
That's right. Yeah, my dad did. The
So
special steel toe caps.
for 50 pence, he got brand new shoes.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
tell
right.
you what,
Yeah.
they would last a nuclear bomb hitting them.
Yeah.
These toe
Yeah.
tectors.
Yeah.
In fact, the only reason he had to buy some other ones is because the toe tector metal that was right at the front, the leather would sort of crease and crease and crease and crease to the point where the leather would rip round where the front of the toe tector ended. That's the only reason why he ever bought any shoes for 10 years.
I remember they were compulsory. They had to wear them for health and safety and all that. They had to have those shoes. Yeah. Right.
That's a nice memory. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Yeah. It's done the same for me because I've immediately thought of my dad. Exactly. Just popping in to say hello, but need sleep. We'll catch up on the replay, hopefully, over the next few days.
That's my mate, Wee Bob Hart. Thanks very much for stepping back.
Thank you for joining us. And then we've got Charles Duncan saying, guys, I found the movie when Roger Daltrey was dressed as a Teddy White's called Buddy Song 1991, also starring Chesney Hawkes. It's available to watch on YouTube. There you are. What a treat there for you.
Every time that's mentioned, we get one extra line that tells us one bit of new information that we haven't got in the previous.
So you can get it for free on YouTube, Buddy Song. There you are. Tony says, have you seen Eye of the Needle? Yeah, I have. Just seen it on the BFI release. Donald Sutherland plays a character very similar to that in The Eagle Has Landed. A very determined German spy. Yeah, excellent film. And I totally agree. It is. It's very similar to the.
I haven't seen that one.
Eagle Has Landed. Great films, war period films. Donald Sutherland as a German spy. Wow, it's great. Absolutely wonderful.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's one to remember. Yeah. Sarah, some news report saying that Ron Ely of Tarzan fame has passed away. They're dropping like flies today. Well, that must have happened since we've come on.
Bloody hell.
When we came on.
I mean, I've just done a capsule review of Doc Savage.
Yeah.
He was my Tarzan
of part of the childhood.
He was my Tarzan of the 70s.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, if you want to buy those Tarzan episodes, Danny told me you have to go abroad to actually get those. They've been out of print for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Never been released as Blu-ray or anything like that.
Yeah. Oh dear. It's another piece of our childhood and past.
Well, I've got to do my RIP after this show into Facebook because Ron Ely was a very big part of my childhood. Very big.
I wonder how old he was now. He must have been getting on a bit.
He must have been in his 30s when he was doing Man of Bronze, and that's 1975.
Yeah.
2015, 2025 would have been another 50, 60, 70. He must have been in his 80s.
Yeah. I'm afraid each week.
He's close to you. Yeah.
Have you noticed? You said it in your blog. Oh yeah, just to publicize. If you haven't subscribed to Delboy's channel, please go and subscribe. He does a brilliant blog on Sundays, but he does much more than that. I put the link in the description. Please go over there if you haven't. But probably most of you have. But if you haven't, if anyone, please go over there and subscribe to his channel. The reason I said that is because he often says this in his blog about when people passing away, how it's as you're getting older, you kind of your childhood. It's like a bit more of your childhood disappears.
Yeah.
That saying Ron Eli has just done that, again, that's how you feel.
I was going to say, that's a big
yeah.
chunk of my childhood. I tell you, I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the biggest things that was on a Sunday for me while having your roast dinner on your lap would have been watching Tarzan.
Yeah.
And Cheetah and Jai,
Exactly.
wasn't it? There was the little lad called Jai.
Yeah.
I can see him now on the top of that waterfall on a big stone sort of like flat bit, doing that Tarzan roar.
Yeah.
The sound.
Yeah. I know, it makes you think so much, bringing back those memories.
He looked like he could take on a lion. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though
It was like Arnie, sort of well built, wasn't it? It was like an Arnie.
No, but this is the thing. Arnie's very muscular at the top, right? He's got this big shoulder thing.
Yeah.
The thing about Ron Eli was that he had a thin waist like a woman and that.
Yeah.
But he had the top half of the physique.
A bull top.
A little bit like a bit like our swimmers.
Yeah.
You know, the people that go into the Olympic swimming and you watch them and you see that they've got these huge, sort of like strong arms and upper body, but they've got waists like as thin as women with corsets on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just go, wow, no wonder they go fast through the water because they're so streamlined. It's like, and that's how I look at him. He doesn't look like an Arnie. He doesn't look like a Sylvester Stallone.
No.
He looks the embodiment of health.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh dear. Steve's Game says, "Oh no, he was the first and only Tarzan I really liked." Yeah.
I mean, I did like Johnny Weissmuller and all of that. You know,
and Sai says, he was 86.
There you are. Told you he was in his 80s, didn't I? All I did was look, if he was about 35 in 1975, then he must have been 80 something. That's all I did. That's how I did the calculation.
Yeah.
Just add 50 onto 8. Just add 50 onto 35.
Yeah. It's all happened today, hasn't it? All these things.
Yeah, it's all bad.
Yeah. Tony says Ronnie Corbett was great in No Sex Plays Where British, a good farce. Yeah, I've got to watch that yet. That's on my list of films that I've got.
I'll tell you other great farces that I liked. I used to like the you know, where you got Up Pompeii and all of that sort of series.
Yeah.
There was the Frankie Howard stuff. I
think
whatever happened, what happened on the way to the Forum and all of this.
It did those kind of things. Yeah.
They passed their sell-by date, and you can understand why. But at the time, I thought they were brilliant.
Yeah.
It was him talking into the audience all the time.
That's right. It was always doing that.
It was making me think like Alfie, which was brand new at the time.
Yeah.
It was Alfie talking to you. It was like the film was being narrated to just you. And that's the thing that I liked about it.
Yeah.
He was always a reading, he says. A reading.
Yeah. He was talking. Yeah.
But he would always go, oh yes, and he'd look at you directly.
Yeah. And nowadays they call it breaking the fourth wall or whatever it is.
Yeah, I know.
It's talking to audience.
Talking bollocks, because I think it's great doing that.
Oh, right. We've got here Muckman movie.
Hey!
Chaps, back from seeing Terrifier 3, oh dear, at the cinema. More of the same gore, to be honest. It's starting to get a bit boring now due to the lack of narrative. Well, we started earlier on. We was really laying into the Terrifier 1 and 2 and saying there was no merit much in them at all. They were boring and not very good. So you've actually been to the cinema, paid money to see Terrifier 3. Crikey, what's up with you?
Hang on a minute. Hang on. He's up north. They don't pay for nothing. Right? If you two went to the cinema, you'd be up in the wag or whatever it is. You'd have snuck past anybody to actually get in. Everybody who's in that cinema didn't pay more than £1.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Oh, yeah. And so we're not fans. We think they're overrated, these Terrifier movies. You know, it's just, yeah, too much. Not with the gore. The gore, it's all, we've seen it all before. It's just, you know, no story.
I'm disappointed by the first two films I've seen.
Yeah, I was. I just thought, oh crikey, these are
I
bad.
will
I
say
thought I was
that.
going to enjoy them. The way everybody talked about them, I thought, oh great, I'm going to enjoy these. And then, oh, I knew after I'd seen maybe about 15 minutes, maybe of the first one, I thought, oh dear, I'm not
Oh,
going to enjoy
I
this.
gave it 25 minutes of the
Yeah,
first one
but
before I went.
I stayed. I watched them all the way through, but boy, I was starting to go. I got to end one, and I thought, oh, shall I watch the second one?
After I
Go
saw
on,
the
it's
first
going to
one,
get better.
after I saw the first one, I was dreading seeing the second one because the first one, I just laughed. I just went.
I couldn't even laugh. It was so bad. I couldn't even laugh at
Only
it.
because in my head I thought about that
Yeah,
thing where I said,
yeah.
"How
I
come
know why everybody had
every knife cutter's got some sort of spray of red paint that goes everywhere?"
I just thought I thought, well, it can't. The second one must be good because everybody keeps going on about it and saying, "Oh, the bed scene's horrific," but oh, isn't it great fun and fantastic, another kill and I watched it and thinking, oh boy, there's no story. It's just awful. And I've gone on too much, but yeah. Oh yeah, this is what I was on about before. Some of the Carry On team played on Blackpool Pier during a summer season. This is where I was trying to work out whether I'd seen some of the Carry On people. I know I'd seen Sid James doing a version of Bless This House at Blackpool. But I'm trying to remember other people doing a version. And I think you're right. I think Jim Dale and him with the glasses who did funny, Jack Douglas. I seem to remember him as well. I can't remember many of the others though. I don't think they did it, but I think Sid James did. I don't think Artie Jakes did. I don't know. I ought to try and check that out. I'm sure there's a way of finding out on.
Probably in my Carry On.
It's amazing. You can look up all sorts of things on Google if you start doing a bit of research.
It's probably in my Carry On book if it's a Carry On production, but if it's not, it won't be in that Carry On book.
Yeah. I think it was definitely Bless This House that he did there, a stage version of that. It's I'll definitely like to do a bit of research sometime on that. It's same with the Dance Army. I know I definitely saw the Dance Army.
Anyway, you've talked about that, haven't you? We better move on.
Yeah.
We'll be here till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, at least. Steve's game. I saw Sykes live once. There it is. It was great. And Derek Geiler, played his washboard in the break. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that's what I've got a feeling I did, you see.
See, one of my biggest regrets is not being able to see anybody at the pier.
Yeah.
Because I didn't go on holiday. I went to things like Barry Island
and didn't have any
Llandudno and Prestatyn.
Yeah,
they didn't have summer shows like you're talking about. We never went to Blackpool.
Yeah, my mum and dad loved Blackpool. Used to go every year.
So I didn't see any big shows like that as a kiddie. No.
Tony Hawk says, "Evening, Jeremy. Terrifier has been discussed earlier, not getting a good reception from most people. No, it's not. Bookman movies, Jim Jam with God back in time for a gig. It would have to relive David Bowie at Glastonbury. Yeah, I can see that one. It was amazing. Ross Delboy, could you play Wacky Waiters on the VIC-20? It's a V-basic game. It would bring back a lot of memories when I was 10. So you've got a request there for your gaming
Yeah,
slot.
I've done one already for Ross, but if
Yeah.
I can remember, I will. I mean, I know what that
Yeah.
is. That's a Eugene Evans unexpanded Vic 20 game.
Yeah. So if you could do that, that would be great for him.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like I said, most of the ones that I can remember, they've left comments, but also
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be asked. This is what my gaming series is, Ian. Just so you know, I've
Yeah.
asked 7 friends for 7 games in each
Yeah.
round. It's not people requesting that I do them.
All
I
right.
ask them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because I like Ross, and because I like Muckman, and because of what
Yeah.
I like Seb's Place and a
Yeah.
number of others, what I've done is I've done at the end of each round, I've put their requests at the end and said, oh, but somebody did request that
Yeah.
I play this. So here it is. I've played it. I've not gone back and done 2,
Yeah.
like done a, in that way. I haven't gone back and done a second request by a second person, because
Right.
in the next 7 people that are asking me 7 games, that I've asked for 7 games, there's bound sure to be in a comment in there that says, can you do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And therefore the person that I've already done a game for is going to get ironed out. You see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I do it, what I'm going to guarantee, Ross, is this: if I get to the next round, the 5th round, the end of the next round, and nobody has asked me to do a game, I will do Wacky Waiters. There's no doubt about it. I'll do an extra like I've done with the others. But if not, then of course I'm actually asking my friends for games. I'm not actually taking requests. If you see what I mean.
Okay.
So what I've done at the moment is I've appeased everybody by doing it.
Okay.
And I have done. I must admit, I did do a game for him.
Yeah. 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 Right. That's good. Right. Tony says there's a channel on Yorkshire TV showing the earlier 1960s episodes of Sykes. Oh, never seen them before. Just watch one where Eric gets his toe stuck in a bathtub. That sounds funny.
I am surprised that YouTube allow the BBC productions of something that's from the 60s on a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
BBC banned just about everything, like Disney.
Yeah.
They're like Disney. They're like hounds. They go, no, we're not doing that. It's copyright. And all this.
Yeah. There's a lot of things on YouTube. It's amazing. I wonder, there's just so many things that can be discovered on YouTube. Muckman says, hi, Tony. Muckman Movies. Eric Sykes was great. Yeah. It was sad coming home from cinema as there was no ad-lib barking excitedly when I opened the front door. Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry about your loss again.
When we lost our cat, I couldn't sleep because it used to sleep at the bottom of my bed. That was terrible.
Yeah.
That meant that there was that weight that was on my feet that I you know what I mean? So totally get it.
And Tony says, I have the complete 70s Sykes on network DV. Don't think the 60s black and white episodes have ever been released.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised that they're on YouTube. Bloody hell.
Yeah. Takes a bit of getting used to having a quiet house. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I know. I watched the version of Dracula with Trevor Eve quite recently. It had Laurence Olivier and Donald Pleasance too.
Yeah, Laurence Olivier was in it. Yeah,
fantastic. What a cast!
Of course, Donald Pleasance was in it. Bloody hell.
Donald Pleasance, brilliant. Now, this is Bob. He says, "I, David, Jason. I just found Only Fools and Horses a few weeks ago. Great TV show. I'm thankful to have seen it. Wow, that's amazing. Seeing Only Fools and Horses for the first time.
I don't know if that's a joke to get hi, David Jason, as he talks on Delboy, you see.
You think that's yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not broadcasting it out, but when you get to the end of the stream, you'll understand that was timed out.
Right. Okay. Right. Obviously, Tony, the house feels so quiet and empty. Yeah. Napoleon was a lower mid-level Ridley Scott film. Not his best, but not his worst.
Yeah,
All right.
I like Napoleon. It's one of those ones where, like I say, I can imagine that. It's not his best, it's not his worst. If you've
Yeah.
ever seen 1492, Conquest of Paradise, people will turn around and say that's not his best, it's not his
Yeah.
worst.
Yeah.
It falls into that category. Yeah, actually, if you do watch 1492, it's got a great Vangelis score. It's actually not a bad film. It's not historically again.
Yeah, it doesn't
incredibly
matter.
accurate.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all know what happened in
Yeah.
1492.
Yeah.
Sound, the ocean blue,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. But, you know, apart from the ships were called correctly,
Yeah.
everything else is drama, isn't it?
Yeah. Muckman says, not a patch on Gladiator or Kingdom of Heaven. And Tony,
I tell you what, not many people talk about Robin Hood. I quite like Robin Hood, you know.
which Ridley Scott's version.
Yeah, Ridley Scott's Robin Hood.
Oh, do you know, I have not seen that one.
Yeah.
I've only seen the more, is it Kevin Costner one? And
that's bloody awful, isn't it?
It's not. I like the old. I'm sorry. I'm a traditionalist. I like Errol Flynn. I like the old 1930s version of Robin Hood, Errol Flynn, and yeah. Tony Oak says, don't understand the criticism of not sticking precisely to historical facts in films. If people want that, they should really be watching a documentary. Spot on there. Totally agree.
Yeah. In fact, they do reenactments now in the documentaries, don't they?
Yeah.
For historical reference.
A film, as I keep saying, a film is a film. It's its own universe. It's its own thing. That's it. I only seen Kingdom of Heaven on TV years ago. Must get it on physical sometime. As Tony says, make sure it has the director's cut if you buy Kingdom of Heaven, Tony. McMahon says, I have the BFI release of Napoleon 1927, yeah, but not got around to watching it because it's, crikey, listen to this, 333 minutes
that must be the longest film from the silent era.
Yeah. Wow.
333 minutes. How many reels would that have been? Jesus
crikey. That's a hell of a lot, isn't it?
I think they were just about in sound in 1927, I think.
It's not quite, but
yeah, it's close, isn't it? Because it's 1931. Laurel and Hardy did short.
31 they're in sound. Al Jolson. Yeah.
I think the Roaring Twenties was totally silent. So bloody hell, a 333-minute black and white silent film. How did they sit down and watch that? Yeah, I know. But of course, I suppose they would have had probably special showings with music there with it, you know. But they'd have done that's how they have to do it. They'd have done that with a pianist and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's what they had to do.
Apparently, they gave the sheet music and said that you can play this or you can play your own. They gave them full repute to actually do that because most stuff was comedies. Yeah. So basically, they gave the person that was employed to actually do the music on a pipe organ or on a piano or whatever medium they got. They did supply the sheet music, but they also gave them carte blanche to play whatever they want. That's what I know. But just think, 333 minutes. If they supplied sheet music for that, Christ, it must have been a book. Yeah. It's a hell of a long time. Anyhow, Tony says Napoleon was exiled to Elba, after his first defeat, then to St. Helena after Waterloo. I think, that's right. With regard to Napoleon 927, it's supposed to be amazing. Average letterbox score is 4.2. Tony says, as long as the director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven isn't 33 minutes, yes. Okay. Yeah. Nothing like that. It's long, but not that long. I saw Ken down live about 7 to 8 times. What a legend. Sadly missed.
The Last Good Comedian. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Give me nightmares. Delboy, I highly recommend that you look up Garth Marenghi's Dark Place if you haven't seen it. I honestly think that you'll enjoy it. There you are. That's that Channel 4 program. He mentioned it earlier. Marenghi. Not Ferengi. Star Trek references there for you. Yeah. So there you are.
I will get round to watching that. Yeah.
Yeah. Tony says, have you seen Vienna Blood? Just got season 4. It's a murder mystery set in the early 1900s, pre-World War One Vienna. Unusual setting and enjoyable. I've not heard of that series. That does sound interesting, especially it's not a Vienna. It's not a place we seem to get many things set in Vienna recently, anyhow.
Don't worry, Ian. By the end of the week, Tony will have sent you a copy that you can bloody well watch.
I think it may still be on.
It'll be winging its way with a stamp on it tomorrow, ready for you to have at the weekend.
What can you say? Sai says, Steve's gaming. I went to see him at roughly the same age. I sat in front row on Sunday matinee with my mum and auntie. He constantly took the mick out of them. It was hilarious. Yeah, there you are.
Ken Dodd, that is, yeah.
Yeah, and we never got out until past 1 a.m. Yeah, that's what they always said, that he went on, and the people who ran the theatre used to try and get him out, but he'd still carry on. They couldn't shut him up. David says, Del, you talked about donkey jackets. Do you remember Dex's? Yes, runners with donkey jackets early in their career. Yeah, they started
before that dungarees type thing. Yeah, donkey jackets on.
Yeah,
I think the lead singer had a band before Dex's, didn't he, or something where he did that?
And he went very weird, as I remember. If you look him up, I've forgotten his name. He really went totally weird in some of the stuff he did after Dex's and the Night Runners. David says, I think I preferred Kevin Rowland wearing a donkey jacket to him wearing ladies. This is it. He's got wearing ladies' stockings and suspenders on the album cover. Yeah, I knew he'd gone really weird. Yeah, that's what sums it up. Peaceful says, hello, guys. Hello. It's great to see you, Ian. Yeah, thank you. My Yorkshire friends, it's Reek Grand. Fantastic.
No bloody idea. All I know is I weren't bloody mentioned earlier.
Yeah, well, of course. Saul Smitherman says The Curse of Steptoe, originally broadcast on BBC 4, is available on YouTube. It's very good. Jeremy Isaacs and Phil Davis play Corbett and Bramwell. Oh, wow. Yeah,
is that dramatization of their of how Steptoe came about?
Yeah, I wonder if it is one of theirs. They did a series of
it says originally broadcast on BBC 4. I think it's in the same. I think it's in the same mold as those ones like Hattie Jakes. They did that.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Curse of Steptoe. I think I remember seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah. Can you remember Dex's Midnight Runners on Top of the Pops performing Jackie Wilson, and someone put a picture of Jackie Wilson on the background? Yeah, that's quite famous.
That was. I'll tell you what, that was in the last couple of months on Top of the Pops, 2, which is on that, which is on a Friday on BBC 4 or BBC 3 or something. I remember seeing that. Somebody went, that was not a joke, it was a mistake or something.
Yeah. With regard, this is Tony says, the Early Sykes episode on YouTube. I subscribe to a few channels who post episodes of 50s to 80s TV. They sometimes have trolls reporting them and have their channels taken down. Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, I
Terrible.
do understand because I don't think YouTube's algorithm really can handle the amount of traffic, to scan every single thing that goes up for a copyright. And so half the stuff will be the community saying, "Oh, did you know that this is up?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me, that
No.
stuff is still up and is still up a decade late, 5 years later, and yet it's copyright, really.
Yeah. Steve's going down. Which game out of your new series have you died the most in? I need an idea how to top it next time.
He's
There
such
you
a
are.
bastard. He knows right now. He's such a git, right? He knows full well. He supplied me with a game which gives you 99 lives, right? And I lost every single one of them, and I played the game 2.5 times before I'd finished. So I went through 200 odd lives. Of course, his game that he actually suggested is the game that I've lost the most lives. How many bloody lives do you want me to lose? Miserable bastard. He knows full well. And it's not all about losing lives. It could be that you could be very nice and give me a nice game to play. But no, he wants me to suffer, doesn't he, the little miserable bastard? He wants me to die every second. Go, Dell's having a nasty, horrible time. That's so funny.
And then we got Tony saying, I posted series 1 to 4 of Vienna Blood yesterday. Oh, right. Tony York, is Vienna Blood on BBC 4? So I think it was originally on BBC 2, but I have the Blu-ray DVD releases. Season 4 was recently released. They only usually 2 or 3 episodes each season. Oh, it's not that many. And we got to the last comment. Sai says, Tony, I've always fancied it, but never got round to watching it. That's it.
You know what? I just want to say everybody's been such a laugh today.
It has, yeah.
I hope nobody's taken offense by anything I said. I've had a ball to be quite honest. Absolutely fantastic. Even that Tony who's a right bastard. I've found.
Yeah, it says, "Look, good night, all."
Oh, yeah. Right, there you are.
Yeah.
Speaking the devil. You know what I mean? I've actually found it hilarious today. And that Steve, he's just a git. He is. Can you tell me which game you've lost most of your lives?
Good night, guys. Love you to bits. There we are. Danny, have a good one. Sai, nighty night, guys. Good night. And then Charles Duncan, good night, guys. And yeah,
just to let you know, I do accept checks as well.
Thank you, Delboy, for making us laugh again and enjoy it. And it's been a pleasure as always. We'll be back for next week at episode 30.
Yeah, I've got to do it all again tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, you've got yeah. So hopefully you have a good time tomorrow.
Hey, I'll probably be calling you in saying, "What's your thoughts on?"
Oh, cranky! Don't ask me about that. Blooming heck, I'm not being doing it.
Yeah, you probably think Twilight Zone is where you turn the gas off or something on the lights outside in the street.
They changed the clocks on Sunday, so that could be a Twilight Zone.
Don't forget, fellas, you got to change. Oh, and girls. Don't forget. Got to change the clocks on Sunday.
Yeah, that's right. So, from Delboy, say your normal greetings
to everybody. Thank you very much.
And all I got to say is, I'll see thee again.